have the meeting. You can join us via Zoom. The meeting ID is located on the agenda, but for today, the meeting ID is 831-2635-0815. You can also join us via telephone, and that number is 1-669-444-9171. This meeting is also being streamed live. We do have a YouTube page, so please subscribe and follow us if you have not done so yet. We're also live on Facebook. However, please remember that any comments made there will not be recorded as part of the official records of this meeting. So if you want to make any public comments, please ensure that you join us via Zoom, call in, or show up here in person. The council has prioritized making translations available for over the past several years. As customary, we do have a Spanish translator that's available during all of our council meetings. So please make sure that you utilize this service if you need to do so. So with that, we will go on to our next item, which is roll call. So if our city clerk can please do roll call.
Mayor Ana Velasquez.
Here.
Councilmember Fernando Cabrera.
Here.
Councilmember Fernando Ansaldo Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Evarista Banuelos.
Here.
Councilmember Ben Caldera.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So we will move on to our next item on our agenda. And at this time, it's public comments on closed session items. So at this time, any member of the public may address the council on items, on closed session items appearing on the agenda. Speakers do have a limit of 3 minutes. Please be brief and to the point. We do have one closed session item for today. So the closed session item is the council will recess to closed session item pursuant to code section 54956.8 to give instructions to the city's negotiator concerning the sale, exchange, lease of property located between Santa Clara Street and Bryant Canyon Road. Assessor parcel number 022-441-017 and 022-522-037. Instructions may include price and other consideration and terms of payment. At this time, do we have any public comments on closed session items? Okay, seeing none from those that are joining us here in the chambers, let me take it out to those that are joining us via Zoom. And let me see if I can. Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So I will close then the closed session item on public comments. And then at this time, then we will convene into closed session and we will come back for the public portion of our meeting at 6:30. Thank you. Everyone. We apologize, we're coming in a little bit later from our closed session, so thank you for your patience, and it's so nice to see that we have a full house.
Yay.
Yay, so we're excited when we have a full city council chamber, so thank you so much. So we are coming out of our closed session, and I'll turn it over to our city manager to give us a report out from our closed session. Or to our city attorney. Sorry, to our city attorney.
Ownership. The council met in closed session to meet with its real property negotiator concerning the identified property on the agenda, which is on Santa Clara Street and Bryan Canyon Road. There was discussion, but no other reportable action taken.
Okay, thank you. And then if you can please stand and join me for our pledge of allegiance, and I will defer this to, since we have our cheer team here, can I ask the coach, where is the coach from our cheer team?
There's three of them.
There's three of them. Can I have one of you lead us in the pledge of allegiance? Whichever one. Yes, yes.
Right, so 5, 6, and 8. So ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So we'll move on to our next item on our agenda. And at this time, do we have any additions or modifications to the agenda?
We do not.
Okay, so we will now move on to our we'll move on to our public comments. So at this time, any member of the public may address the city council on the items not appearing on the agenda, but are of interest to the public and are within the jurisdiction of the city council. The public does have 3 minutes. If you can please be brief and to the point. And if you do want to make public comment, we do want to make sure that we do ask the public and the council to maintain decorum during the public portion. Please refrain from making any personal attacks or any derogatory comments. And if you are going to make any public comments, we do ask that if you can please come up to the podium. So at this time, do we have any members of the public that wish to make a public comment on items that are not appearing on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, then let me take that out to those that are joining us via Zoom. If there's any member of the public that is joining us via Zoom that wishes to make a public comment. And just make sure I can see them here. Okay, so I don't see anyone that is joining us via Zoom that wish to make a public comment. Okay, seeing none, then I will close the public comment period. And I will move on to our next item on our agenda. And at this time, it's council presentation. So the City Council of the City of Soledad will present a certificate of achievement to the Soledad High School Aztecs cheerleading team. And for that, I will turn it over to Councilwoman Buñuelos to present the certificate of achievement.
Before I read the certificate, I wanted to read something that the coach advisor shared. So the traditional competitive cheerleading TCC team of Soledad High School is a new team that was established in 2023. This is not your ordinary routine. It is carefully crafted to meet a specific rubric used in the competitive cheer world, ensuring precision, creativity, and excellence at every level. The TCC consists of 2 minutes and 30 seconds of non-stop dance, jumps, and stunts. In addition to these components, showmanship is also a core part of competition. Our TCC season typically begins in November. However, these athletes are training as early as June to prepare for our sideline football season. This team members prepare for competition by stretching daily, jumps practice, and rigorous stunt training. Since 2023, our TCC team has qualified for JAMS High School Nationals twice. Most recently, the Aztecs placed first out of 9 teams on December 6th at the JAMS Friday Night Lights Adrenaline Championship. The Aztecs will be traveling to the CCS Championships on January 18th at Independence High School and to JAMS Nationals on January 24th and 25th in Las Vegas. The Aztec competition team begins fundraising as early as August to cover essential competition expenses, including registration, travel, and overnight fees. Fundraising efforts continue steadily from August through January as the team prepares for their big competition. If you'd like to support the team, you can donate to the Soledad Cheer Booster or participate in the various fundraisers we host throughout the season. The Aztec competition team would like to express their gratitude and appreciation to all of their parents, family, friends, school staff, and community supporters. Without your donations, opportunities like these will not be possible. We hope to continue to bring the world of competitive cheerleading into the Soledad community. So competition coaching staff, if I can please have them stand. Anissa Gomez as advisor coach. Priscilla Arevalo, coach. Alyssa Esparza, coach. And then, of course, the 2024-25 roster, and I'm just gonna shout out all the names really quick. Alexa Sanchez, Alice Ceja, Angelina Alvarez, Audrey Esparza, Claire Raines, Christina Duran, Yasmin Cardenas, Jocelyn Amaro, Melanie Regalado, Diana Gutierrez, Sabrina Arriaga, Sofia Gonzalez, Valeria Hermosillo, and everyone else, please stand that are participating. And I think this is it. So on behalf of City Council, this is a certificate of achievement. This certificate of achievement is awarded to the Soledad Aztec Cheer. On behalf of the Soledad City Council, congratulations to the Aztec Cheer team on your first place win of the 2024 JAMS Cheer and Dance Competition. Woohoo! Your sacrifice, determination, courage, and grace in times of adversity is admirable and praiseworthy. The City of Soledad is honored to recognize you as the Soledad role models. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Yeah, we can have you
Yeah,
come up.
we can have you come up.
Yeah,
Please.
we can have you come up to the
All the
podium.
coaches, advisors.
Yeah, thank you.
Already, you have
I think, I know you girls are not shy, so to the podium.
Yeah,
It's on.
It's on, it's.
Yeah. So we just want to express our gratitude and thank you for the ongoing donations and support that we receive. We will continue to work hard and make Soledad proud. We also do a lot with our youth, so there's a lot to come in the spring. We hope to not only teach cheer and dance, but we also instill a lot in these young men and women as they come through our program, and we hope to see this for many years to come.
Thank you all for inviting us today. These young ladies work extremely hard. They put a lot of time and dedication into the craft of cheer. They are very dedicated to not only our team, but also to football, basketball, the other teams that we support as well. And so we are extremely proud of them. This has been a long time goal to have competitive cheerleading at Soledad High School, and we're glad that we're finally able to see that come to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you so much again.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I'll open it up to the council at this time, and then I'll start with my left. I'll start with Councilmember Caldera.
Just want to say congratulations, girls. I know it's what you guys do is really, I mean, it's an art. It's an art. And I thank you all. And hopefully this is the start of something great for you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Saldo Sanchez.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations to the ladies for the competition, and then
kudos to your coaches. I went to high school with Anissa and Crystal, so it's nice to see folks getting stuff done here in Soledad. So I'm very appreciative to you guys as well, for being committed to the team and, you know, growing up, Bring It On was one of my favorite movies, so it's really. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera?
Thank you so much for being here, for the parents, the relatives, and the team. And how amazing is that your coaches are so young. So we have a lot more potential. This is just the beginning. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to somebody that told me that we have a person that won Olympics silver medal. So we have a lot of potential in our residents. We have a lot of potential in our kids. For those of you who are parents, please don't give up. Continue supporting your kids and continue supporting the coaches that are going to take your kids to a greatest level of performance. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. And on my behalf, I just want to say that we have so many Soledad superstars. And for me, it warms my heart to see that we have so many young, talented individuals. So, you know, for us, we made it a point as a city council to really recognize our young athletes, our young superstars. And it's been amazing to see how many we have in Soledad, you know, at all different levels, from our soccer superstars and, you know, our, you know, now cheer. And I think you guys already had won something last year, right? Or the year before. So I know you guys have been doing really well. So it was really nice to see. I think I had seen Melissa's video, you know, when you guys had won, and I know Emma had shared it too. And it was like, oh my goodness, it's so amazing to see, you know, just at that moment when you guys knew that you guys had, you know, had won, right? And to know that you guys are going to nationals. So good luck. It's for us, it's always nice to be able to have a full chamber and see you guys here, and to be able to recognize you, the coaches, and as was said, your parents as well. And for us as a community to be able to have you here, to know that, you know, you're representing Soledad, and when you're out in Vegas, that, you know, Soledad is being highlighted, and that you're highlighting us and our city and our community, to know that you're doing that, and you're making all of us really proud. From each individual that lives here, you guys are making a mark out in, you know, out in our communities, out in our state, and every city that you're representing us. So thank you so much, and wishing you guys good luck. We'll be cheering you on. So for bringing you here to recognize you, I know you guys had to leave, so thank you so much for staying here to be able to be present today. So if we can, we're gonna pause for a moment. So if we can take a photo at the front, so if we can bring all of you guys here with your coaches, and we can take a Thank you, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you for your patience as we congratulated our girls high school cheer team. So we wish them well on their nationals competition in January. So pretty excited about that. So we'll move on then to our next item on the agenda. And at this time, we have our consent calendar for tonight. We have consent calendar items C1 to C8. So at this time, do any members of the public wish to pull an item from the consent calendar for discussion or comment? So any of those that are anyone joining us here in the city council? Chambers. Okay, seeing none. Anyone joining us on Zoom? Okay, I see none. So any council member wish to pull an item from the consent calendar for additional comments or discussion? Council, seeing none?
Wait, sorry, can I just pull C8 for a question?
Okay, so I have C8, and you know what, I'll pull C6 just for comment as well. So it's C8. Okay, any additional? No, okay, council, so then I will entertain a motion to approve all items on the consent calendar with the exception of C6 and C8.
So move.
Second,
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so motion passes. And I will start with item C6, and this is resolution number 6186, a resolution of the city council approving and authorizing the city manager to execute amendment number 3 to the CSG consultant agreement. For me, the only comment that I have on this one, I know that it talked about, that we had this contract, we're extending the term of the contract until June 30th of 2025. This was supposed to be going out for RFP. There was some issues, with the, there was some issues with moving this forward in time. So I just wanted to make sure that I know we had discussed about making sure that we have contracts that go out for RFP. So I know we gave ourselves a little bit more time, but I just want to make sure that in the future will come June 30th and we go to RFP for these kind of contracts. Megan, I know that we've had discussions on that, but I just want to make sure that it does move forward with a request for proposal in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, and with that, I'll turn it over to Councilmember Ansaldo for item C-8.
I know that we've had this conversation before in regards to the contingency amount being 20%. Just as kind of a reminder, are we going to move forward with 20%? Is it just for now? I'm only asking because it seems to be pretty high still, 20%.
20% is actually pretty typical because it's usually either between 15 and 20%. And because I think post-pandemic, things have gone, costs have escalated with inflation and so forth. And so now you're seeing contingencies more consistently 20%. So I know in my career, I've worked for many jurisdictions that had a 20% contingency,
And
especially on projects that have some unknowns, like anytime as we know, with the community center, when we opened the wall, we saw something we didn't expect.
And if the whole, so when it is, contingency is considered and it doesn't do the full amount, like what happens to that extra that was set aside? Like, does it just go back into like a fund or?
Well, we only spend up to that not to exceed amount. So if we don't need that contingency, then we only spend a smaller amount.
Mm.
So we budget for an amount, but whatever we spend, just, if it's a capital line item, it would stay in that area, or we wouldn't have to raise as much revenue.
Got it. Thank you. That's all I have.
Through the chair, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So what happens if we don't use that 20%? goes back to the general fund?
It doesn't really go back because we
We don't-
budget across, but yeah, at the end of the year. Mike reconciles what our expenditures are and what our revenues are. And whatever our revenues are, go into an operating reserve or however you guys decide every year. You want to, if we're underfunded, where you would want to put it.
Okay.
Alex, did you have anything else to add?
The only one thing, I just want to say thank you, by the way, Megan. But I also just wanted to mention, in terms of construction contingency, if, the contingency is carried out throughout the project's life, but at the end, when it's not used, we don't keep it in a reserve somewhere. It goes back to where we need to go back to potentially, into another project or what may be, whatever the city decides.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so if no further comments, then I entertain a motion to approve item C-6 and C-8.
So moved.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor
Second.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so motion carries. So thank you. So we'll move on now to our first item of business and we will, that was quick. So we'll move on to our presentation on Assembly Bill 413, AB 413. Okay, and this will be a staff report by Assistant Engineer Juan Huerta. And I will turn it over to you.
Just give me a second to set up the
Mhm.
PowerPoint. I lost connection for some reason. Like we're having some technical difficulties. It's not connecting to the Wi-Fi.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you have a report? I know we have the report. We have the report. We have the report. I don't know if you want to give your written report. I know it was an informational item.
Yeah. So I had a small PowerPoint, but
We have it, so if you wanted to.
Yeah, we have it. It was part of the attachment, so you can go ahead and move
Alright, so-
forward.
hello, council members, some of you don't know me, but my name is Juan Huerta, the same engineer here. I was just gonna go over Assembly Bill 413, which is California's daylighting bill. No, I didn't. This was a bill that was passed on October 10th, 2023, and it went into effect without enforcement starting January 1st, 2024. This bill officially starts enforcement on January 1st, 2025. This bill makes it illegal to park within 20 feet of any marked or unmarked crosswalks anywhere in the state of California, and 15 feet from any holdup. AB 413, it was an unfunded state mandated law. This means all cities must abide by this new law, but they do not receive any funding from the state to implement this law. So just some quick important facts is that 20 feet is about the same length as a average 4-door pickup truck. So if you're parked 20 feet from any intersection, you will be able to be cited by PD or law enforcement starting on January 1st. And this law mainly passed to prevent pedestrian fatalities and injuries, as any vehicle which is parked in those 20 feet intersections. It hinders visibility to approaching drivers, which makes it difficult to see any pedestrians stepping off the crosswalk and attempting to walk across the intersection. And how this will affect all that is mainly that we will be removing some diagonal parking spaces that if somebody parked there, they would be violating the law. And we are also sending out information to the public through social media posts. We have some inserts that go into the water bill so that the residents get know about this law. That's about it. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Juan, and thank you for providing also the copy of the, of your presentation. That always helps us as council, because then it gives us, just, you know, obviously we have the staff report, but it's always helpful to have the presentation as well. So we appreciate that. So let me, before I bring it to the council, let me take it out to the public first to see if we have any public comments on this unfunded mandate. So do we have any members of the public that have any comments on this item, on this presentation on Assembly Bill 413? Okay, do we have any members of the public that are joining us via Zoom that have any comments or questions on Assembly Bill 413? Okay, I see none. Then I will close the public comment for this this item, and I'll bring it back to the council, and I'll start with Councilwoman Banuelos.
Juan, thank you for the slide. So just a quick question, because thank you also for posting on social media. I did see that. You know, I've read the comments, but my question to you is, I understand if we can just stress more and just kind of maybe, because I know the beginning of the year is around the corner, if we can help public understand why we're doing this, you know. I mean, I understand because I'm a driver and Eva used to do this. So I, you know, just kind of being proactive, you know, maybe just kind of continuing to.
Another thing I forgot to mention is that we actually did create a small educational video as well, stressing that this is done more or less to protect pedestrians and for safety reasons.
Okay.
More than anything.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair, if you also have enforcement questions, we have Chief Watson here, who's also available to answer some of that.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for that presentation there. My question is, if, are we gonna paint red in those areas or some sort of, painting that?
Yeah, as of now, we don't have any intention to paint red because we would have to paint every curb basically in all of them, also that to prohibit them from basically parking in any curb. Yeah.
So it's not included in the bill, right?
No.
The bill doesn't say we have to.
Doesn't mandate how we have to implement it. They just say that within 20 feet, you cannot park. They do not say you have to paint red, you have to this. They didn't really give much direction on how to implement it, which is why many cities are implementing it in different ways.
Is the city gonna develop some, the rules for implementing this? Or are we waiting for more instructions or more feedback?
For now, we just have the plan of.
So,
Through the chair, so we have an implementation plan, which is education.
Okay.
And as we upgrade locations, we will accordingly implement the improvements to reflect what is required in the law, but we're not going to proactively go around painting the curbs, which is relatively consistent with most jurisdictions in the county, because it's a lot of curbs to cover. We don't have monies to do it. It may also add some complications from looking at traffic engineering as well. And the police department could spend all of their time enforcing parking instead of addressing high priority issues like crime. So, you know, until we're told differently by the state, that's the approach that we are gonna be taking here in the city of Soledad. We also will take complaints, and have code enforcement address that on a complaint basis. If there are very problematic intersections, the public can reach out.
Okay.
And I know we have Chief here to add on the enforcement side.
Mayor and council, as part of, as you know, there is no funding for this thing without red curbs and without signs. Our probably main focus and main goal on this is going to be through education first. So I will probably be going through a whole bunch of warning citations before we do anything, trying to educate the public and let them know where the parking is gonna be. It's going to be a lot of fun trying to enforce something that's mandated to us that we weren't giving funding to implement. So our goal is going to be on education and probably warning citations before anything.
Thank you, Chief. Any additional questions, Councilmember?
No, thank you.
Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez?
Yes, I think Chief will have to come back. Sorry, I'm just sat down. But yeah, only because I also read the Facebook comments and I know that there was confusion from the public that think that they have to stop at a crosswalk 20 feet before the crosswalk. Can you let the folks know that you don't have to, when you're driving, stop 20 feet away from the crosswalk?
You do not. You have to stop at the limit. The limit line is the first line, and in some of the intersections, there will be the two lines for the crosswalk, and there will be a line before that. That's the limit line. That's where you have to stop. You don't have to stop 20 feet back. You don't have to. You just have to stop before you cross the line, and you'll be fine.
Thank you. I didn't want to comment back on Facebook because I don't like to do that, but I did see that it was a big discussion for some folks and just
Yes,
wanted to
no.
make it clear here that that's not what the law says.
Right, and the 20 feet is so you can see pedestrians coming out. So as long as you're coming up and you go to the limit line, you can see pedestrians coming out, you're fine.
Great, thank you.
Chief, just a quick question in terms of the Facebook comments. I know you can't address every comment, but I know that there's a lot of misinformation that goes on social media, obviously. But especially when we're posting stuff that is information like this that has the potential to obviously have people get fined. Are we making sure that we're putting correct information when people are posting inaccurate information? Are we saying, hey, that's not accurate, this is what the law says?
We're posting PSAs, public service announcements, and I'm actually in the process of getting a section on our Facebook and our website for traffic. To help people know how to make a right-hand turn. You don't do it from the center lane, you do it from as far right to the curb as you can get. Stopping at intersections, limit lines, things like that. So we're working on a PSA section for things like that, so that we can, because I would much rather educate somebody and not give them a citation and cost them money, and have something like that happen.
Yeah, no, thank you. I just worry because I know sometimes on social media, there's a lot of misinformation. You can post accurate information
Yes.
and then people follow the information that's incorrect. And we want to make sure people get correct information.
Yes, we're working on a PSA section for everybody.
Thank you.
A little bit on that note, though, I think that because misinformation can spread through the comments, and I'm saying this as like not in a, I want staff to spend their time on Facebook comments, but I'm wondering if staff does see something like that, if they would be able to correct the information or limit, I don't know if we can't limit comments, right?
Yeah, through the chair, maybe I can ask Jesus Valenzuela, our community engagement manager. He manages social media to just respond to the question. But yes, we have to be very careful about freedom of speech, so we can't necessarily, we can't take comments out. There's very limited, the city attorney could respond to of what we could eliminate, but we have to let everything pretty much go once we have social media up.
Yeah, so, we do respond, at least on the city's main, social media pages, we do respond. And when I first started, that wasn't, a habit, and if you go back, you'll see like a lot of back and forth comments during that time, but once we started responding, people actually really appreciated it. And of course, that speaks to good design, right? Because as you see here, I see where your confusion comes from, where people think they had to stop 2 cars before the stop sign. So, yeah, we will definitely monitor and put out the correct information.
Thank you.
And,
Any additional comments?
yes, and then I know that we're not going to be painting, which I understand. I think my question then is that existing parking spots, are they going to be painted over, or how are we addressing those? Because I know that there's parallel parking lines in on Front Street. Are those going to be painted over?
So the ones on Front Street won't be painted over because we have bulb outs right there, so those actually are fine because we have the bulb outs. There are some that will be painted over, the diagonal spaces. I don't have an exact number, but they should be around, there's not that many, there should be around 4 or 5 spots, and I'll solve that.
Awesome. I think, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And through the chair, one thing I just wanted to clarify, the reason why we're not losing a lot more parking is by installing the multiple stop signs. I think we had that discussion last time. And one of the reasons why we proposed to do that was that could have wiped out a significant amount of parking on Front Street. Like nine spaces in one section, 8 spaces in another. So I think it was last week, or was there 2 weeks ago, or I think Alex can probably respond with the Front Street maintenance project.
Yeah, just to remind the council, once again, the reason why we're looking at stop warrants along the Front Street corridor was to not have, all these parking stalls be lost at the result of site distance and AB 413. Like Megan mentioned with the stop signs, now you make it you make it a stop place, right? It's not an uncontrolled intersection. Not only that, but we do have bulb outs all along Front Street, right? Those bulb extensions, that accounts for that 15 feet roughly. So that also enables us to save those parking stalls. Like the one we have here too.
Wait, now I have a question. Sorry. So because we're putting stop signs, then they can technically park the 15 feet, or is it just, it's designed that way?
And just to clarify, I'm sorry if I was a little bit misleading in that aspect, but site distance was the reason for us losing those stalls, not necessarily AB 413. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So 2 different things, but they go hand in hand.
Got it.
Yeah, thank you. Any additional questions? Okay, Councilmember Caldera?
No, not me.
Okay,
I'm good.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So I just have a couple of them, and I understand obviously they're unfunded mandates, and I understand the reason why. And that we don't have any funding, but just to reiterate, as we're improving any of those areas, then we will be making those improvements as we have money, correct? So that may take some time. So we already began the outreach process.
Yes, we have.
Okay, and then the enforcement will begin, then are we starting, when will we begin enforcement, chief? And can we give a grace period? I think you talked about that we're not going to be, we're gonna do awareness first before we start enforcing. I guess I want to make sure our residents understand that we are gonna be doing awareness first
Yes,
before we
we'll
do
be doing
enforcement.
PSAs, things like that. And as I said, we will be going through the warning citations, which basically tells someone, you can't be doing this. Here's your warning, don't do it again. So that's our first step on this thing.
Okay, so we really don't have a timeline, it's just,
As soon as the law goes into effect, we're gonna start.
It's first.
And we have intersections that we've already gone out and looked at that seem to be problematic, and we're gonna start there.
okay. But we don't have a timeline to say, hey, we'll be doing warnings from January first to
No.
March. It's just, we're gonna start doing awareness, and then depending on how much you get in
Yes.
terms of what you see in terms of citation, in terms of violations.
Correct, and when we do warning citations, everything goes into the system, and if we have, 6, 7 warnings on one vehicle, then I think warning time's over.
Okay, got it. Okay, and then in the video, is the video in Spanish as well?
The video is not in Spanish. Our other information, the social media post and I think the water bill insert that is in Spanish. The video is only, I believe, in for,
Can we do a video in Spanish?
yeah.
Okay, and then also when we do the video in Spanish, if we can also share with other groups as well, so if they can post it as well on their social media. I know we have some members of our faith community here. We have Líderes Campesinas who are joining us here. The school district, obviously, because they send it out, they have their parent square, if we can help. Because I know it's gonna be really confusing and some people are gonna say, what, it's January 1st and what's gonna happen? So if we can send it out to the school district so they can help us distribute it as well, and we have Hartnell College, so I think we have a lot of partners that we can say, hey, the more that we can help disseminate, distribute that information. And I don't know if there's something easily where people can say, hey, I know you gave us a different couple of, what is AB 413, and if there's anything visually that could be easily read and understood, where we can also utilize some posters to put on Front Street on some of the more high visibility locations where we can say, hey, here's what's gonna happen as of January 1st. Please, be vigilant because enforcement will happen, that we can have as much outreach as possible.
Through the chair,
Mhm.
on that note as well, other option too is maybe some of the local businesses. I'm thinking about like laundromats and stuff like that, high visibility areas. I don't know if that's been done already. It might have been already, but it's another good option.
Yeah,
And through the chair, sorry, can we just do like a live video feed? I don't know, Jesus, we can with Chief Watson say, hey, PSA, like a live person, doing that too. That would be also too, in addition to the notices, that would be great because it's coming from you, Chief, coming from Jesus.
yeah, so we'll work on some of the proposed outreach, just so that we can have as much as we can do different types of strategic outreach, only because again, it is coming up January 1st. It's really confusing. Some people will not know, and we want to raise awareness as much as we can before we start the enforcement piece.
Yeah, so something we can do, we can work with our city manager, put together a little
Mhm.
plan, take note of everything that was mentioned here, and then we can send it back early next year.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Juan, for that presentation. Thank you. Okay, so council, with that, no further questions, and let's move on to our next item, which is item B-2. Consideration of the appropriation and allocation of community development block grant CDBG program funds in the amount not to exceed 500,000 to eligible activities in accordance with the state CDBG program. Sorry, income policy. I should know how to say that. So I will turn this over to Beatriz Trujillo to give us a report.
Good evening, council. So tonight I'm here with Cynthia, our economic development coordinator, to present about the CDBG program income. So I will let her handle the presentation, but I'm here if you have any questions at the end of the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Cynthia Vargas, Economic Development Coordinator for the city. I'm here to present and request your direction on the appropriation and allocation of the CDBG program income in the amount not to exceed 500,000.
Staff had previously received direction from council to prepare and submit an application in response to the 2024 CDBG NOFA. Unfortunately, despite diligent efforts, staff was unable to complete and submit the required application materials by the deadline of October 29, 2024. While this missed opportunity represents a significant setback in securing CDBG funding for these critical programs, we have identified an alternative funding source to support the city council's priorities, which is the CDBG program income. The city of Soledad has effectively utilized community development block grant funding to support local business and residents through key initiatives, including business assistance loans, housing rehab loans, home ownership program loans. And these loans are being repaid. The result of repayment of these funds is now classified as program income in accordance with the federal regulation 24 CFR Part 570.489E. The city has generated, next slide. The city has generated approximately $500,000 from the repayment of CDBG housing and business assistance loans. In order for the city to be in line with program income policy, the city must allocate the PI program income fund through one of the following options. One would be amend an existing standard agreement. The second option would be to submit what's called a program income only application. This is specifically for a specific activity. 3 is return the program income to the state, which for obvious reasons, we do not want to go there. It's the last thing we want to do. Next slide. In regards to the allocation options that we do have, option 1, as I mentioned, amending an existing standard agreement. The city has only one active CDBG program grant, and that's the grant number 22 CDBG 30043, which is the business assistance loan program. This grant has approximately $300,000 remaining available in funds for business loans. This is what's been ongoing. This is the original grant that was for $750,000. Actually, as a matter of fact, it's going to be less than the $300,000. We just finished reviewing an application for an additional loan on a new business for $35,000. If it meets the requirements, it will be funded. So it's going to be a little bit less than that. The second option that we have in regards to designated to a program income only application, the city currently has 2 projects eligible and ready for funding under the program income only application category. Number 1, the community center improvements. That's a project that's already ongoing. As you know, facility upgrades are underway, but additional funding is needed. Allocating PI would help ensure project completion, addressing a critical community need. The other option, the other project that's ready is the home buyer assistance program. Council approved guidelines providing a foundation for offering 0 interest deferred loans to eligible households. This program will address the community's housing affordability challenges. And although the 500 allocation may not be sufficient to fund multiple home loans, it marks an important first steps in establishing the home buyer assistance program. Next slide. At this time, as I said, I'd like to review the 4 suggested alternatives that are listed in your staff report. So number 1, allocating program income to the active CDBG business loan program. By allocating the entire $500,000 to the active business loan program to expand funding for small business loans, this approach will support local economic growth by increasing opportunities for business creation, retention, and job development. The other thing to keep in mind is that you just recently approved amendments to the guideline, which now allocates funding to tentative improvements, which we did not offer before. 2, when we're talking about the program only option, the first project you can designate it to would be using the 500 to fund the new home buyer assistance program, which would provide 0 interest deferred loans to eligible households. This option addresses the community's housing affordability challenges and establishes a new housing initiative aligned with council approved guidelines, which you also just recently approved. 3, along with the program income only application, you can direct the $500,000 towards public facilities improvements, which is an eligible activity, and it will be going to the community center. This will ensure the completion of vital upgrades benefiting a community where 65% of our residents qualify as low to moderate income, addressing a critical infrastructure need. And the last alternative will be number 4, allocate program income across multiple activities. Divide the 500,000 between the active business loan program and program income only applications for either the home buyer assistance program or the community center or eligible activity. This hybrid approach will allow the city to address both economic development and community infrastructure needs simultaneously. This concludes my presentation. I can go ahead and take questions or comments.
Thank you, Cynthia, for that presentation. So let me take it out to the public first before I bring it to council for any questions or comments. So let me take it out to the public. Any member of the public that's joining us here wish to make any comments on item B-2? Okay, seeing none, then let me take it out to those that are joining us via Zoom. Any member of the public that is joining us via Zoom wish to make a comment on item B-2? And I do see there is a hand raised. And I see Angel's iPhone. Angel's iPhone. Is that the interpreter?
That might be our consultant.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me, Council?
Yes.
Hi, this is Angel Johnstone. I'm your economic development consultant.
Hi, Angel. Sorry, I just saw your Angel's iPhone.
Sorry.
You want to make some comments before we take it out to the public?
You know, I do want to make a couple comments.
Okay, go ahead.
At our last city council meeting that I attended, we had originally discussed allocating the 500,000 to the economic development program. It would probably fund about 6 businesses and create around 12 new jobs. That was when we had thought that the city would be applying for the $1.5 million grant to stimulate and spearhead the housing program, which is going to be amazing for the city. At that, and also the grant would help fund the community center improvements. So that grant was going to do a lot. Unfortunately, I'm not sure the exact reason, but the city wasn't able to apply for that particular grant. And so my concern is that the 500,000 that was going to be allocated to the business program would move somewhere else. And in February of this year, in about a month and a half, a new NOFA will come out. And the city is positioned right now to apply for that around, $1.5 million that could go straight to housing and the community center, but then it would leave the business loan fund not being replenished because you're not allowed to apply for the business loan program and housing in their NOFAs now. It's a new rule they put out. So I just wanted to kind of voice my thoughts on it and allow council and the public to have a well-rounded thought process when they're thinking about what the future looks like a little bit and then where they would prefer to allocate the funds. So I just wanted to give my insight on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. Okay, anyone else wish to make a comment? Okay, seeing none, then I will, so Megan, I do have a question, or so maybe I'll take it to Cynthia on that. So are we positioned, and based on Angel's comment, are we positioned? I know we missed the other deadline, but are we positioned, and do we have a strong application to be able to submit in February for the $1 million for the home buyer assistance program and the community center?
Yeah, I think Beatrice can answer.
I think we are, but because the NOFA hasn't come out, we don't have enough information about the NOFA, about how much money will be available on this other round. And what activities may receive more priority. We are in a good position now, because we were trying our best to have everything ready for the deadline. Well, actually, it was a opening window, and within a few hours, the funds were allocated or were expended. So we have everything in very good shape to meet the deadline in February. But just know that we still don't have enough information about the NOFA because it hasn't been released.
And through the chair, I think, in talking to some of our CDBG people, we don't know what the prioritization is going to be, how much funding is available, how competitive it'll be. And also, I will mention that there is a super NOFA for home ownership. So there might be an opportunity for the housing, but for the community center, there's a lot less availability, just kind of looking. Now we are going to start a capital campaign. We did send out letters asking for support from the community, but we're still about 1.5 million shy of completing things like lighting in the parking lot, EV chargers. We need to do ADA upgrades to the bathrooms. We also have to move we have the HVAC system that is not working, actually existing, and we need to figure out how to cool the gym. So there's quite a lot of projects. We've got, thanks to council's generosity, got pretty far, about halfway done with the project, but we still have about 1.5 million to go.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Megan, for that, and thank you for clarifying that the NOFA still hasn't been released and we still don't have information. So let me come back now, since I took it out to the public comments, and so let me come back to the council now for questions or comments, and I'll start with Councilmember Caldera. Did I start with Councilmember Caldera earlier? I want to make sure I'm rotating.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so
Oh, that's all right.
No, I started.
okay, Councilmember Caldera.
On this, this money's here, for me, the hybrid allocation is a little bit, I think it's, I'm more inclined to go that way. I mean, I believe, if it's doable and kind of, allocate some to the community center, because I believe it's long overdue that we fix that place up. And also which one was the other one? The home buyer assistance program. Between those two, I'm sure that if we allocate some funds to a community center, would we be able to get that the 1.5, some of that money to kind of finish off the project for the community center?
We're definitely working on it. I submitted a grant just on last week for a generator. So but only will fund 50%. We have to come up with 50% match. So I think we're gonna be very aggressive in looking at ways to fund the community center.
Well, that's my take. Thank you.
Through the chair, the one thing I did want to clarify is we don't have 500,000 yet to spend exactly. We anticipate we'll get 500,000, but we actually have, I don't know if staff could clarify what we actually can allocate at this point.
So the allocation, the way it works, when you submit an application, you say up to this amount. So if we do not have quite the 500,000, we are giving ourselves, so anything that comes in, we are basically designating those funds for that specific use. Whether it be putting it back into the grant or whether it be putting it to a specific project specific grant.
application. So that's where the amount is at. We have less than 4, I think, between the housing CDBG and the business CDBG.
For the program income?
For
So
the
how much
program
do we
income.
have in program income? Under 400,000?
Like 4,
It was
I don't know, I
280.
can't remember the exact amount, but if I had to start reporting, it's a different, now what they've done, and I'm not sure if you're aware, the state has now asked us to combine both, where before we were keeping them separate. So now we're combining, so when we report together, as long as it's all CDBG.
Two for program income and what else?
So it's the housing program income and then the economic development program income. Now
Oh,
it's
both plots.
both pots, now it's all one. So between both, I wanna say it's about 465, the last time I think I looked at it. It's so. And that's why we can up that amount, but basically you're saying you're committing that program income.
Yeah.
For that use.
Got it.
That's-
Okay. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Councilmember Anselmo Sanchez?
Yeah, so, a little, kind of reading this a bit here, and I'm a little disappointed that, I know staff works really hard, but I'm a little disappointed that we weren't able to get that in, because it's super important. From myself, like, how do I say this, right? I, obviously I'm in favor of, assisting the community center. I think that's a very important, piece for our city. I do feel that we have been spending a lot of money for the community center, and I know it's because things happen as we keep going and we're finding new things. But I know that we put a lot of funding into it, and while it's important, I'm more inclined for allocating the funds elsewhere. I agree with the hybrid allocation, but my take would be to actually do a hybrid allocation for the home buyer assistance program and the business grants. Just because I think that I would really like us to start somewhere with our home buyer assistance program. And I know that, businesses are important, and we want to attract businesses, and we want to show that we're investing in our businesses. So that's why I would be more inclined to go that route at this point. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Anselmo Sanchez. So it's, so you were not, so your choice is not one of the options, so you would want to do, it's not a hybrid, but it's,
Oh, it is a hybrid. It is,
it's a hybrid, but it's not the hybrid that was presented. It's a hybrid that consists, can you just, so I can write it down?
let me go back.
Because it's not one of both, so it's a
Take a.
So it would
housing,
be a hybrid, it would be
But it
specifically
would
for
be-
economic development and
Or- or
the
go back to
housing.
the-
housing
Mhm,
and
housing and economic development,
not necessarily the community center.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Where Mr. Councilmember Caldera
Is-
suggested home buyers and the community center.
Oh, so what I said isn't,
Yeah, it is.
It is, it's a
not.
hybrid, it's a hybrid.
wait, what did Mayor say? Sorry.
so I thought, let me go back to the hybrid.
Because it's a
'Cause
split
hybrid-
funds between the business loan program and either the home buyer assistance program or community center improvements. So-
Split business loan program, oh, okay, business loan program or home buyer, that's what your
So-
choice is? Okay, got it.
It's all eligible activities, all of them actually fall under eligible, so it would still be a hybrid.
Oh, I see, because the way it's written here, it says that you have to choose business and homeowner or community center, but it's
It,
it doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah, it
Thank
could be
you.
any.
Sorry about that.
any-
That's right.
Okay, so it is hybrid, okay, hybrid. Okay, got it. Okay, Councilmember Cabrera?
In my case, I'm also for the hybrid allocation. I think that, yes, we have, used a lot of funding for the community center, but we had the opportunity to finish up with whatever is left. I got the chance to see it, the other day, and it's a beautiful, program, and, a beautiful place. And that is gonna give us the opportunity, or it's gonna give people that do sales online. Oh, that's gonna give us an opportunity for business, for developing the business. So I think that we should use whatever money is needed to complete that. renovation and just move on to something else. And the allocation of the money for the other ones is either, I will say, review how many business loans we have in stock, or do we have business loans already? Or do we have, home buyer assistance program applications already in the process? And if we don't, then, might as well use it and finish with the community center, so that we don't have to wait for a year to see if somebody will apply for that loan. I'd rather put it to work than be just there.
Through the chair,
Yeah, can we-
clarify.
Hold on,
For-
hold on, Councilmember Gonzalez Sanchez. Let me just let him finish,
Okay.
please, with his comments, and then we can come back to you.
Yeah,
So what else?
Yeah.
Can you finish your
Yeah,
comments?
those are my.
so I'm sorry, you said.
No, I
Hybrid?
the hybrid, but I will rather focus in finishing with
Community center, right?
And so that we don't have to do little by little every year. So
Okay.
we just finish and focus.
So just, but you want a hybrid, but the
Mhm.
hybrid you would,
I will focus more on business and.
okay, gotcha. I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so,
business and
so
community
just to
center.
clarify, hybrid, community center and
And
economic development, okay.
Yes.
And yeah, economic development. So we just have to be more specific. So hold on, Megan, let me go back to Councilmember Anselmo Sanchez.
I just wanted to clarify that we don't have a home buyer assistance program currently, correct? So this would be to start one, or we have one already?
We don't.
No,
We
we
don't.
Guidelines.
we do not. We created guidelines and we are actually in conversation. The one good thing about the home buyers assistance is there's actually a fairly large supernova that has come out at the state of California for a home buyer program that we're pretty well positioned to go after. So there might be, in that, I think, Angel is right. There is, a more likely pot, and that NOFA has come out. So
Actually,
we,
this came out this week.
yeah,
I just wanted to clarify, because I think Councilmember Cabrera said if we have applications, but we don't, because we don't.
Yeah.
We don't have.
Just
Yeah.
to that point, we cannot take any applications because we don't have
Mhm.
technically a program to offer, so we
Just for the
cannot
public to
take-
know that we
yeah.
don't have it
Okay.
yet.
We
so
cannot
if they're
take any-
trying to apply,
Yeah.
we can't.
That makes things easier, just focus in business and community center.
and,
Okay, so
through the chair, I did want to just explain a little bit about, Councilmember Cabrera's comment, if that's okay, but, we're looking at getting a commercial kitchen status at the community center, and that would allow, folks to come in and make food as an economic, like a kitchen. And one of the things that Jessica talked to us about was the need for certain equipment that's where the community center and the economic development kind of interface for that.
yeah. Thank you for clarifying that, and we can have a different discussion on that. So, are you done, Councilmember?
Yeah.
Okay, Councilmember Banuelos?
Just really quick, Tansy, thank you for the presentation slides. And then what is just the alternatives is, just continue with the assistance with the business loans, because we do have a lot of, upcoming businesses that do want to come in. And of course, develop job opportunities, but not only that, to continue to foster our local businesses and, thank you for supporting it as well.
So which one do you,
Oh, expand CBD business loan program.
so number one?
Yeah, one.
You can score.
Yeah, okay, so thank you, Councilwoman Banuelos. I think for me, I think for me, I have my preference would be the home buyer assistance program. I know we have a lot in the community center, but I asked for information and I know it was a little bit later. But I really wanted to make sure that the public as well as the council understood how much money we've already provided. And not to say that we haven't done a lot for our business, our small businesses, because I want to make sure that the public understands, as well as the newly elected council members, that we have done a lot to support our small businesses. I think since the pandemic, there was a lot of funding that came through the state. And so there was a lot of investment and a lot of support, notably so, right? Because they were the ones, our small businesses were the ones that were really hurting during the pandemic. But the council, prior council, this council really invested in focusing on getting or accessing a lot of, and Tencia, you were a big part of that, accessing a lot of that state CDBG money to be able to support our businesses. So I would like to see, you know, for the council to be able to have a one sheet that has all of the business grants that we've awarded to date, all of the business loans that we've awarded to date with all of the amounts, because we've done a really stellar job of doing that. I know that we obviously need more. I know that there's still some more money that we need to allocate, but I think it's important that we as a community and we as a council understand how much money already has been invested in the CDBG loans and the CDBG grants. And, you know, I thank Angel as well, because I know she's been instrumental and I know that we have more work to do, but I think we've done a lot. I mean, we've utilized also Al Pajaro CDC. We've also utilized a small business development program. I mean, we brought a lot of other resources that not only are CDBG, but also they've tapped into a lot of other funding sources that have been available to assist our small businesses. So yeah, I think there's more that we can do, but I think that we've done a lot and we have to recognize some of those efforts. Under that, I think, you know, we've also just approved, for me, is we've approved a housing element for the next 8 years. And under our housing element, you know, we had very specific priorities that we approved as a council and laid out to our community of what we wanted to do and the goals that we had set for ourselves and for our community. And those were really clear in terms of we wanted a home buyer assistance program. We wanted to really start focusing on how we provide some of those, deal with some of the affordability issues that our communities are undergoing. So we have an opportunity to be able to look at how we utilize the program income that comes from the both funding sources to be able to start something. Is it enough? No, it's not, but is it a start? It gets us somewhere. So I think for me, that's my preference, is to be able to look at how do we start a program that we know that is going to be a need. And if we're looking at how we're continuing to, you know, bring more home buyer opportunities to our community, we really need a home buyer assistance program, because we know that that's been a need that we've heard from our residents, and it's documented in the data in our housing element. I know the community center has been really critical, but we've invested a lot of money in our community center. You know, we have the Measure S that we passed as a community for the tax dollars to be invested as part of that. And some of that money that we get every year that comes in, which is over $1 million point something, right? That comes in, that we can have that funding source to be able to allocate chunks of that money to go back into our community center. So we have a funding source that's dedicated to hopefully help us with some of those services and allocate to some of the public facilities. So we have a funding source for that. And I also want to see, can we, you know, because I know I've asked Megan, but I know I told you at the last minute, how much money have we already invested? And I think I said it last time, is how much money have we invested in the community center? And I know it's going to be in phases, right? It's been an amazing facility. We know it needs improvements, but we know we can't do it all. We've done a lot already, but we also have to look at some of the other investments that we haven't dedicated funding to. And for me, I really my recommendation is the home buyer assistance program. So with that, we have a divided, well, there's two.
I think when it comes down to it, you all have, you've heard from the public. And I want to thank you for that, because there is a lot of need in our community in all areas. You know, we don't have a program for home buyer. We have a guideline, and we're actually set. We're in a good start to apply. And the economic development aspect, we do have funding, but once it's gone, it's gone. And then we have other sources that we could tap into. Community center is something that supports the whole community. So I understand the divide. My role here and
so I guess
our role is just to see what, how we want your guidance and how we want
to. So I guess so then I think what we can do, and I know the councilwoman Bañuelos and myself I know the rest of the council talked about a hybrid allocation, which does include all of the business loan, the home buyer assistance, and the community center. So I think if we can come to a consensus that the hybrid allocation is probably what we can agree with, but going back to, making sure that when we do have whatever that final funds, our funding amount is, that we come back and have a discussion once we know where is the best utilization for that money to go into, where do we need it? And can we have, a chunk of it go into some of those different portions of, where it needs to go? And then can we have also, so the council can see how much investment has already gone into the community center, how much investment has already gone into the loan program for our small businesses, so that way there's a clear understanding of where some of that funding has gone to, and where are we gonna allocate those additional resources.
Through the chair, I believe I could probably give you round numbers, and Tensia could correct me, but I think in terms of all of the pandemic money, I think in terms of the business loans, we were about 1.5.
Probably.
1.5 total.
Million total. In the community center, I think we're about 1.2. And with the home buyers, we have in the past, but we don't currently have a program, so we haven't allocated money in a little bit of time. So that just kind of gives you costs. This program income doesn't include the 750 because so we will eventually have more program income as the more recent 750 is repaid. That income will eventually come to us and starting in a few more years.
Through the chair, I have a question regarding hybrid. If we do, for example, give direction for hybrid, is it 50-50? Or is it whatever we say it is?
So the way it would work is, so we have to apply for the hybrid version, right? So I would go apply to the state online, and if you say 50-50, then that's how I would apply. Let's say it's home buyer and community center. I would do 50-50. If that's what you direct me to do, I can do that. The hybrid version is first of all, I want to clarify the amount 500,000 is what you're designating. You can change that amount. You do have an option. As Megan stated, we have a grant that we still have funds out there that we haven't allocated, but when we allocate them, we lend them out, they're going to be repaid. And who's to say that a home buyer loan, someone wants to repay their loan, maybe they want to sell their house and we end up getting more program income. So those are unknowns.
Right.
That is, what that said is that will be income that's going to be coming back into the city, which will not be designated. So at that point, let's say we're already at the 500,000, but we get an additional 200, then we would have to reapply to assign those additional 200. That's how it works. So right now the limit is 500,000. That's what we're suggesting to start with. You can do a hybrid and allocate 2, 3, or 1, whatever you want to do, 2, and 1, or 250 and 250. That's what we're looking for.
Okay, because
Does that answer your question?
it does, because when I said hybrid, I assumed it wasn't 50-50. So I guess to further clarify, I would probably be more inclined to do 80% for the home buyer program and 20% for the business. Just to get something in the pot, so to speak, for the housing.
It would probably be easier if you give a dollar amount, because we have 500,000 to work with,
So 400, 100.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause I didn't know if it was like up to 500, so that's
Yeah.
why I went percent wise, but
Yeah.
got it.
So Megan, just to clarify, because so the program income thing is crazy, because we're gonna continue to get program income, but for right now, what we have to do, because this is what we're gonna send to the state now.
Yeah.
We have to submit it before we lose it, right? Or else we don't wanna lose it, so this is why we're coming to it.
Yeah.
This is why you guys are coming, so I would be inclined to support Councilmember Ansaldo's, for the proposal to be able to allocate the
400,000 to housing, 100,000 to business loan.
So do we need a motion? Or just a recommendation?
Want to make sure. I think that you were just receiving, direction, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once we apply, whatever the recommendation would be, then I would need to go ahead and bring this back and formally do it via the resolution. This is more of a discussion item or and guidance.
Okay, council, before we move forward, any final comments or thoughts?
Yes, because, I heard that we don't have anything, in the, home learning program. I would like to see if there's any possibilities that we can start developing into that. Because I don't see a point of, investing money in something that we don't have, that we have to create, that we have to, you know what I mean?
No, I completely understand. So just to let you know, we do have guidelines. That's one of the things that you just recently approved.
Mhm.
That's the first step.
Okay.
And we have staff.
Okay.
And we are working, she's working, actually, why don't you answer what you? Sorry.
Yeah, so we have the guidelines that are really important, and it's nice to be able to scale out a project, so we can start with a little bit of funding. We are getting a little bit more, we anticipate to get more support in staffing wise, so that will allow us to really, get the project off the ground. And also, we want to make sure, I think we anticipate to have more development soon. Right now, whatever we have available is also small scale, so maybe this is a good time to test the waters and make sure that we're not overwhelmed by the new program, by the new guidelines, but that we're actually installing it out.
Mhm. So with that, the home buyer assistance program, just in numbers for one person, how much are we talking about?
So in the guidelines that we approved, that will depend on the income of the person, what income bracket they're at,
Mhm.
and also the property of the value of the property that they're purchasing. So we have flexibility, because really what we want to make sure is that people that, and I think what we agree is that we were gonna prioritize the people that were in the low moderate. So not the 120, but more like people that are in the 80% AMI, because they are the ones that are having a harder time. Or, yeah, it's harder for them to qualify for a loan through a bank, for a mortgage loan. So if we can provide that incentive there, that's a population that we haven't really supported. So they will be our priority based on the guidelines that we adopted.
Okay.
So Megan, I have a question. Are you done, council
Yes.
member? I have a question because, and maybe I'll change my recommendation, because one is I want to make sure, if we utilize the 400,000 for the home buyer program, I know that before we gave our PHLA funds to the county because we couldn't do anything with it. Can we go back and ask the county for those PHLA funds, and can we, no? Because I thought they go into a pot of money and anybody can use them, so can we say, look, if we're putting 400,000 into we're gonna use them for the first time homebuyer program, why couldn't we access those funds that the county has? That's everybody's pot of money.
The ones that we have already committed, those are gonna be hard to gain back. But I know that the cycle is ending.
Yeah.
And on the new cycle, we wanna make sure that we protect our money
Yeah,
and that we
keep it.
keep our money. So with the one allocation that we have already given to the county, it's really hard to bring it back. We can explore projects, and we have been exploring about getting a portion of the money for the Tay campus, the transitional HU. Like we have been saying, like, is there a way that we can get some of our money back as an investment in one of our projects? But it's really hard to claim it back and put it into the home buyer program. But for the new cycle, our goal is that we don't keep that up, that we keep it in the city.
And then we can come back and determine as a council that we can put it back into this pot of money for the home buyer program.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my second question is on the community center, because you mentioned that the HVAC needed, what is the cost for that? Because if we can finish that project.
So there are two components. The HVAC repair is about 150, 180. And we definitely need to do that because that's our cooling center. And we're very nervous about that.
Okay.
Now, the gym does not have HVAC, so we have to actually figure out what it would involve to add HVAC. So that could be probably the same price, maybe even a little bit more, like 200, because we'd have to do some additional work because we don't. So in total, we're probably looking at 380 for both. But if we were just to do the repair, which is the more urgent need, would be about 150, 180.
So can we do then, Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez, if we can make a modification to do a lesser number on the home buyer program, because we can always come back and add more to that. And then add the 200 or 180 to be able to complete the HVAC for the community center.
So then would we be doing, 3?
No, it would be just for the emergency repairs, so that would be 200.
Sorry to clarify, would it be for the 3 options? So it would be for the business loans, it would be for the community center, and it would be for housing, or now are we going back and doing only housing and community center and we're not doing the business loans?
My recommendation would be housing and community center.
So maybe 150 for the community center and the balance would be 350 for home buyers.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation, given that we've done 1.5 million already for the allocated to the businesses.
I would be okay with that. I would be inclined to do that.
Through the chair, can we make sure that all of us agree to that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go out to the rest of you guys. Any comments or questions from the rest of the council?
Sorry. Through the chair, I wanted to kind of piggyback on what, we are all sharing, but if Tencia, if you can maybe, and get this, give me some insight and more, trying to expand this CDBG business loan programs. I understand that, with, mayor's comment in regards to the 1% businesses that we have, had helped, during the pandemic. I know, I think I mentioned to you a couple of months ago, do these businesses, do they take these offers? Do they seek the help from the economic development?
They
these
do.
Programs? Okay.
They do. I do want to comment that the amendment to the guidelines is going to make a huge difference.
Okay.
Because it's going to offer something we have not ever offered before. I worked in another jurisdiction and we didn't even offer it over there, which is the tenant improvements. And with the current facade improvements that we've been doing, that's one of the things that I've had at least 3 to 4 people ask me. And can you lend me money to include tenant improvement, which is like minor, not extensive, it's minor. And my answer has been no, because I always have to defer to them, to the county who does have funding for that. So we were unable to support that aspect, but we recently changed it to now include that, could change and they're gonna come back probably and ask if we should go. I mean, now that we amend, our program can now fund those activities, those improvements. So
Okay.
so that's the difference, and that's what we used to be before.
Through the chair, is it possible to do 3?
I think so. I did not anticipate all 3, but I can definitely ask, because the intent of the state, when I just like, 2 years ago, that was mandated 2 years ago. And I just submitted the reporting online to report to. And they were very lenient in that sense, because what they saw is our success stories. We are one of the small communities who have been very successful. And they have literally told us that we're one of the cities that are an example for business assistance. We've really gone out and about. I mean, we've done more than bigger cities. So, but they did allow us 3-star reporting. So all of that funding now they said we can split the money. And I think what it comes down to is the amount, how you do it.
Okay.
And that's it, just to reiterate on that. So we also used ARPA dollars. So, right? So for
The ARPA dollars were used more for COVID related. It was 300,000 that we designated for small business, and then we did not expend all of that money. So that was designated somewhere else for qualified activities. And then for facade, Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like
Yeah.
it wasn't the full 300.
Yeah.
180.
It was a little bit over that, I think in the
Was
end,
it?
it was like 190, and then I think we did 50,000 in business
There you
assistance
go.
loans.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure, so if we can get that clarity, because I think it's important that the council have a clear understanding of all of the, not just CDBG, but I forgot, we also had ARPA dollars that were allocated. Because I want to make sure that we know that there has been a lot of investment in both our community center and also in our small businesses. Not that we're not going to continue to invest in them because there's a need, but that there has been. And I think for me, just a reiteration that if housing is a priority, and we've been talking about it because we know that home buyer assistance has been a priority, and I'm going to go back to this, the council approved our housing element. Our housing element is really clear in terms of what the needs are. And a home buyer assistant is what we've been talking about for the last couple of months or last couple of years with this council is we got to start investing somewhere. And it can't be a priority if we're not putting dollars into it. So, you know, I want to make sure that that's clear, and that if we want to, there's another proposal, and if the council feels comfortable with it, there's another proposal on the table if we want to do all three, but at some point we have to prioritize what we want to see. And we want to give money to everything, but at some point we can't give money to everything. And we have invested 1.5 million and 1.2 million in the community center, 1.5 million and more in our small businesses. But if the council feels comfortable and we want to move forward with something today, because we've already spent some time talking about this, and I know it's not an easy decision, but the other proposal is we can do a three-way split, 100,000 for economic development, I mean, for the loan program, 150 for the community center, for those, the HVAC repair, emergency repair, and the 250 for the home buyer program, with the incentive that the Supernova will apply for the Supernova for the state to see, hopefully we'll apply and receive the funding for the home buyer program. But if not, we start investing at 250, and then we start looking at how we start putting more money. And if we have more program income, that we really, as a council, make sure that we have discussions about how we prioritize putting more money into the pockets of our home buyer program. We approved the framework. Now let's start investing and putting money in there so we can help our residents that need the assistance. That's, you know, that's my recommendation, council. I'll open it up for final thoughts and discussion.
To the chair, yeah, I want to just, the reason why I say the business, because it's perception, because, you know, a lot of these businesses that I talk to, it's more the education, like the education in regards to, you know, helping fostering their businesses, you know, helping apply to all these, because a lot of the perception, what I hear is it's just lack of education. You know, and that's why you're here, to help them and educate them, you know, and it's not, I don't know if it's just maybe the fear or just not wanting to get.
It's intimidation by the information, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. So I really want to just kind of, you know, consider with those local businesses, you know, and those that are hearing me, you know, kind of take that opportunity and have that faith and step into it, because we're here to, you know, support, as Mayor mentioned, but then also, you know, considering the other alternatives too, you know. I mean, we're gonna continue to support, you know, all the alternatives too. So I just wanted to, you know, say that, because, you know, just the perception, and then just, you know, education and intimidation. So thank you. I mean, the recommendation of the three, you know, is,
And
which is a hybrid allocation,
the
right?
hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hybrid,
it's a
okay.
hybrid with the three.
So I think this is a testament of our council and how much we care about our community. We can't decide because we want to help everybody. And while I'm okay with doing that, I do want to think about in the future, we can't always keep doing this, and we're gonna have to make decisions, and we're gonna have to decide where to put large chunks of money. But I think for the sake of the conversation today, I am comfortable with allocating funding to all three in the amounts that we talked about. I believe it was 100 for the economic development. 150 for the community center and 250 for the home buyers assistance program, because if we are going to be applying for funding, I think we do need to have something there to show that we're already started and we're trying. So yeah.
Okay, any final thoughts?
I agree 100%. We're good.
Yeah, just my final comment, then say just if we can have, I know we probably have this, but just so the public knows, I know that some of the businesses may not want to showcase that we provided them assistance, but I think it's important because like, Councilmember Banuelos said, I know some of the smaller businesses may not want to, but if they see like, hey, ACE received funding, Plaza Garibaldi received funding. I'm trying to remember, all of the other businesses that receive funding. We have a lot of small businesses that receive loans, receive grants, and I know you've done an extraordinary job in walking them through the application process, and that we have somehow where people can see, yes, it has been our local businesses that have benefited from the 1.5 million of funding, and that there is a place where people could see that. In our website, I can go on there and I can see a list of all the businesses that receive funding. So there is not a perception that we're not supporting our businesses and that we have not invested in our small businesses.
What I know that we've been working with, actually, Jesus and I have had several conversations already. We are revamping our website, so there had a conversation just yesterday or this morning about a page dedicated for certain things, certain initiatives. There's something that's gonna be coming, we're gonna bring back to the council in February. So there's a lot that we are working on, and it's, like you said, it's perception, but I mean, the people that I talk to, they know that it's more of intimidation. I think it's more like, how do I do this? How do I do that? And it's a variety of things, but yes, you're right. We are gonna be doing a better job of putting things on our website. We put a lot on social media. We put a lot of information on there, but I think the website that people gravitate towards too. I did ask for a page specifically for economic development to improve that site. I've looked at other cities and other jurisdictions, and that's what I want. So you're right. Yes, we do need to do a better job about that, and we are working on that. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And just my final comment is, although I'm okay with the three-way split, my preference, again, I know the home buyer assistance would have been my full preference. I'm okay as was said today because we want to come to an agreement, but if we are gonna make impacts and we're truly about investing in our community and what we know already the need is, that we really need to make those tough decisions when they come to it, that we really need to invest where we know that we've already have documented data that says that our residents really need this assistance. So for me is we got to invest in the home buyer program and really start putting money in there and start working on that aspect of it, because we have, developments that are coming to fruition, and we want to be prepared to support our residents. So thank you for your hard work on this. I really appreciate it. Thank you both.
And thank you for taking the time to look at this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, council, thank you for that fruitful discussion. Then we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is receive and accept the mini grants closeout report. And I will turn this over to Jesus Valenzuela.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. I myself on my end will keep this presentation brief. I will go over a general overview of what we did with the mini grants, and again, want to congratulate y'all as the City Council, because it's acknowledging that, even though we do a lot of great stuff as a city, we have nonprofits that can reach certain populations, and these mini grants really went a long way. So like I said, I'll blitz through this part of the presentation, but I will afterward invite some of the members to do a brief, quick 1 minute, overview of what they did. So
As you remember, our mini grant you approved 4 organizations. The Soledad Little League, was allocated $5,000. Gabriel from the Little League apologizes he was not able to make it today. Our neighborhood pet project was allocated $2,500, and we have here Representative, Ms. Lou, Reinhardt. We have, via Zoom, Rosemary Soto from SCAR was also awarded $5,000. And then we have Pastora Inez Lugo from, the United Methodist awarded $3,600. The Soledad Little League, was able to purchase 190 shirts for their players. Cost is often a barrier for low income communities, so this went a long way to ensuring that no Little League player was left out. SCAR, will be holding a dog event in the spring of 2025. They will spay and neuter 20 Soledad owned mid to large dogs. As we know, stray dogs are a huge issue in our community. And then, of course, the United Methodist, they purchased 8 garden beds for planting various vegetables such as squash, celery, bell peppers, oregano. They held events where 35 people, not all at once, but in the different events were able to participate. And then, our neighborhood pet project, whom I will invite to come up first, they have a spay and neuter event that provided surgery for 60 cats and 10 dogs. That is, for 32 families in Soledad. So, Ms. Lou, you can give a quick.
Yeah, you guys have long meetings. I would like to personally thank you, though. I know that you have a lot of competing priorities for all of this money. And probably not on the top of your list is anything related to animal services, but to the 38 families that received the support, it's really, really important to them. And especially this year with the closure of the Las Cochas Animal Hospital after so many years, it's really left a void in terms of for the local community to get local services. So our pet project is to try and increase the number of spay and neuter days that we have in South County. And it's so in addition to the one that was funded from the Soledad grant, the SNP bus who we partner with, and then also the SPCA. SNP has been to Greenfield 6 times this year doing clinics. The SPCA has come to Gonzales once, to King City once, and they've been to Greenfield twice as well. So there's been a lot of activity around here, and we really hope to keep that going, and we really appreciate the support that we've gotten from the council in order to have that happen here in Soledad.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, I will invite Pastor Inez to say a few words about her project with the United Methodist.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Pues,
Is the translator able to, or you want me to?
Oh, the translator?
Yeah,
You translated.
is the translator still on?
Yeah, they're on.
Can you translate?
Yeah, volunteer.
Yeah.
Okay, you could go ahead.
ok, pues muchísimas gracias por darnos este tiempo y también por confiar en este proyecto que es pionero para la comunidad de Soledad. Tenemos aproximadamente el 25% de los niños fueron los que participaron.
Yeah, can you, just for the translator, can you just wait till she's done? Oh, hello, translator, we can hear you. Okay, and can you wait until she's done speaking and then translate? Can you hear me? Maybe not. Okay, go ahead.
Maybe what we can do is tell the translator and
Just to pause.
not to translate,
Yeah.
and just have Jesus do it.
This is just what.
Está bien.
Did I open that?
Entiendo. Ok, lo que estaba diciendo es que el 25% fueron niños de participación del jardín comunitario, el 40% son jóvenes, que son jóvenes de la high school, que vinieron a hacer horas comunitarias,
El 25% de los que estaban participando son adultos y tenemos un 10% de la tercera edad, que son personas mayores de 60 a 65 años.
So we're very grateful for the project. 25% of the project was done by children, 45% was done for high school, and another percentage, 25%, were people that were senior citizens.
25% son adultos y el 10%
25%
son,
are adults,
ajá, y el 10% son adultos mayores, seniors.
and 10% are senior citizens.
Y ha sido pues un tiempo muy participativo de la comunidad y muchas personas desde los niños hasta los adultos lo pudieron disfrutar y poder ver crecer las plantas y cómo poder cultivar algo por nuestras propias manos.
So the community participated. They enjoyed it a lot. The children, senior citizens enjoyed cultivating plants and enjoying what they were able to do with their own hands.
No solamente pudimos recibir la donación que ustedes nos brindaron, sino también hubo una compañía en el área de Marina que mandó la tierra completamente gratis y otras personas residentes de la comunidad nos ofrecieron árboles frutales que ya están algunos plantados y otros van a ser plantados.
So not only we received your donation, but we also received another donation from another company in Marina that they gave us all the soil free, and other people donated fruit trees. Some of them are already and some are about to be planted.
Y aquí tenemos algunas de las participantes. Alba, Arellano y Maya López, y las demás nos dejaron muchas porras para.
So here in the public, we have some of the people that participated. We have Alba, so they all participated to make this project better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. And last but not least, we also have via Zoom Rosemary Soto with SCAR.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Velasquez and council and team there at City Hall for this grant. It definitely has supported our vision and our mission to address the overpopulation of domestic animals in South County. And I'd have to echo a lot of the challenges that were named by Lou Reinhardt. We share in the same facing the same challenges. And one of the areas that we continue to hear that is the most challenging for community members to be able to have their dogs fixed in particular is because of the size of the breeds and some of the cost can be just exorbitant and just unaffordable. So we felt that it was important to be able to support that and leverage these funds with other resources that we've been able to gain over time. And so with that, it's something we feel it's a great significant impact in the community. Aside from that, we also do spay and neuter cats. However, we are able to leverage these funds with other dollars to be able to maximize the impact there. And we have a small team that is working on the logistics to host a small scale pet health and wellness community event just to bring our community members together and be able to also provide community outreach and education. We strongly believe that the key to responsible pet ownership and just even being able to inform the community about the services that are available to them is through community engagement and education. The more people know, the better they do. And we really feel it's an opportunity to also just build community and make sure that animals are living their best life possible. That's ultimately our goal as well. So again, thank you very much for your support and for prioritizing animal services in South County, particularly in Soledad. We know that with all of the competing priorities that you have that are also of the same importance, we appreciate that you're not forgetting about our fur community. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Perfect. So unless there are any questions, I just want to thank you again, City Council. Like I said, programs such as the mini grants really helped to foster a sense of community, and it was thanks to your wisdom, to your guidance, that we were able to, support our community members.
Thank you so much, Jesus. So before I bring it to the council, let me take it out to the public to see if we have any comments from the public. So any members from the public wish to make a comment on item B-3? Okay, seeing none that are joining us here in our chambers, any that are joining us via Zoom? Okay, seeing none, then I will bring it back to the council, and I'll start with Councilwoman Bañuelos.
Yes, thank you, Jesus, for the presentation, and thank you for all the organizations that took advantage of the mini grants. Now, I'm not familiar with this mini grant, but if you can give me some insight, how much do we have in the grant and how many more nonprofits can apply?
So this was more than anything a little test pilot. So the original allocation was $50,000. Of course, we did not continue that funding this fiscal year. So what you're seeing right now is what was allocated in the previous fiscal year.
And one more question is, maybe we can kind of revisit and maybe reallocate that and put that back in the fiscal year. Maybe, I don't know, but we can just do that.
We get through the chair. I think if we were to consider redoing this program, it probably should be in relation to the strategic planning process that's going to be taking place.
Okay.
In which point I think the council should also discuss funding priorities, because the funding is limited, a lot more limited coming. So, then you can decide if this fits into a priority project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember President.
Yeah, just want to thank Jesus for all the work. Y felicidades a todas las personas que recibieron los fondos. Thank you for all you guys that you did a very good use of the money. I'm with Councilmember Bañuelos. I would like to see that funding coming back. I know that we are really tight, but I think that what you guys do is an exceptional work that we need, because there's a lot of dogs and there's a lot of need for our students or for our people to see a plant coming out, or being able to plant a tree, plant something has an effect in the heart of the people. Tiene un efecto en el corazón de las personas ver las plantas cuando uno las pone o las planta. Muchas gracias.
Yeah, thank you. Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez.
Yeah, I just want to again echo kind of what I said during the last business item, that this is just another testament again of how much this council really cares for the community, and shows that we are trying to, put like our money where our mouth is, right, and help as much as we can. And then I especially want to highlight that also this is us also. Oh, sorry. This is also us providing a way for intervention and prevention programs, specifically with the Little League and with the Methodist Church. I think helping the community out, giving kids something to do after school or on their off time from school. So I'm also in agreement with Councilmember Cabrera and Councilwoman Banuelos, and hopefully we can figure something out, but I guess that's a conversation for later.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Caldera.
I also agree with my fellow council members here. I believe this is a very well-rounded, very well-balanced program. It gets all the community involved and it just shows the care and the respect we have for the community. Thank you all. Thank you. I believe, get involved with the churches and then get involved with Little League, especially, you have the youth, you have the churches, you have the, the animals at large that we need to control. I believe it's very, very good. And if we can bring that, revisit that program, why not? Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Caldera. Yeah, thank you. I want to say thank you to Jesus because there was a lot of work that was done to put this community grants program together. I know the council had a vision in terms of what we wanted to see. You took and run with it, brought it back, took it again, brought it back again. And so thank you, Jesus, for making this work and the implementation. I know it took some time to initiate and to put it into place and to put it into practice. So thank you so much for doing that and putting that vision that the council had into practice. And for all of the groups, thank you so much para todos los grupos que yo tuve la oportunidad de estar con la pastora y estar in the I was in the ribbon cutting for the church. So thank you, gracias por invitarme y por estar allí. So I love the community gardens and I know I try to do that in my own with the butterfly gardens and stuff. And I know it's not easy. But thank you. I think this was really important. And I know for the council, we wanted to make the council wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to be able to look at how we put together a program that gave an opportunity to neighborhood groups to implement the community need. And it was really based on a community need. And so it was a pilot program. I think now the council needs to look at, the program implementation. And I think a couple of things for me, I want to say thank you, thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, Lou, thank you, Pastora Ines, and thank you for Rosemary. Thank you, everyone who put this together, to the Little League, to Gabriel. I know they work really hard to make sure that everybody can participate in the programs. But I think now the council has an opportunity when we have our goal setting session. We don't have a lot of money, and we have to go back and look at where we utilize our money. Now that we've gone to districts, I think the council has an opportunity to really be able to look at, now you all have districts and looking at, what do you want to implement in your districts and what is that district need? Because this kind of serves as a framework, right? There's a district, there's a need that, the community groups, put forward, but there's also specific district needs that you all have in your districts. And how do you take what was put together here and look at, what is that need that you want to be able to implement in your in your specific districts? And so I think it's an opportunity for us to be able to come back and look at the goal setting sessions and how does that convert to that? Because we don't have, a lot of funding and we want to make sure we maximize that. I think on the other note with the spade and neuter, we've battled with that a lot, but we do have Measure S, and Measure S was part of the funding that was supposed to be utilized for some of the animal services. I know we have code enforcement, animal enforcement, right? Animal services that is utilized, animal control through Measure S. But I think we do have a need now for an ad hoc subcommittee for animal services. So maybe it's something we can talk about. How do we implement an ad hoc subcommittee to be able to work with Lou, to be able to work with Rosemary, to be able to work with, the different, with SNP-Bus and other people. I know we had a contract at some point with SNP-Bus, but I think we need to really raise awareness. I know our contract with the SPCA is out of out of control and, that's a lot of money also in our budget. So we have to be able to look at that and say, how do we bring some of those costs down? How do we raise awareness with our community members about the cost of not having our pets spayed and neutered and transporting them to the SPCA? And so I think there's a lot of discussion, a lot of things that we can do if we have a subcommittee to really help move us forward with that. So we can have further discussions on that. So with that, I just want to say gracias. Thank you for putting this together, and we look forward to a good discussion on how we can continue with some of these efforts in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jesus.
Next item.
Oh, okay, so we are going to go on to the next item. And this item is, before we discuss the City of Soledad Resolution number 5278, which is declaring the City of Soledad as a sanctuary city for all residents, regardless of immigration status, and provide direction on as necessary. So I will turn this over to Jesus Valenzuela again, to give us a report.
Thank you once again, Mayor, City Council. I will be brief on this one, and Megan and Mike, if I missed anything, please let me know. But what we are asking you to do tonight is to revisit resolution number 5278 passed back in 2017, which declared the City of Soledad a sanctuary city. There has been talk from the council that we want to revisit this, and so we look for you to guidance in how to implement that ideas for us as staff to be able to execute the intent of this resolution.
And through the chair, just to add, maybe if Mike wants to add anything, we actually do have an approved resolution, which is number 5278, that designated the City of Soledad a sanctuary city. That happened back in 2017. This resolution is still in effect. That has not changed. And so I think, we still don't know yet. There has been talk about potentially from the incoming administration, potentially tying future funding to limit sanctuary cities for tapping into federal funding. But the police department would honor what is in place under 5278. And I think, the police department is very, they've spent a lot of time building trust in the community, so they are not incentivized to do anything that would break that trust. They are going to proceed cautiously because they do want folks to know that they are not going to be engaging in enforcing federal immigration law, except as it relates to criminal activity, which is what our resolution states. So I just wanted to put that out. I do know that there is an ad hoc committee that the county has put together. They have subsequently reached out to the city, so we are going to be attending the meetings. We missed the first one. And I think there's an opportunity to look at ways that we can support the community more broadly through programs, looking at safety nets, having workshops regarding Know Your Rights. And I know that there have been discussions on that. So definitely something that we are working on as well. And I don't know, Mike, if you had anything to add.
No, I don't think so. I think it's already.
Okay, thank you, Megan, and thank you, Jesus. So before I bring it to for discussion with the council, let me take it out to the public. So any members of the public that are joining us here in the council wish to make a comment on this item, which is agenda item number 4. Any of those that are joining us here, if you'd like to make any public comments. You can begin.
Sí, buenas noches.
Buenas
Mi
noches.
nombre es Alba. Acerca de esto, discúlpenme.
Espérame un momentito, okay? Can we have our translator? So
Yes,
can we
I'm
have-
here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Disculpen mi ignorancia acerca de esto, pero lo que ¿qué significa en realidad qué es que una ciudad sea ciudad santuario? ¿Y qué es lo que quizás debe o no debe hacer el presidente con el Departamento de Migración dentro de una ciudad que se llama que se hace llamar santuario? Es una de mis preguntas, porque también puedo ser la voz de mis compañeros de campesinos que ahorita no están muy bien informados acerca de lo que es las leyes de inmigración y lo que se está comentando acerca de cuando entre el nuevo presidente, qué es lo que va a pasar, si va a dividir las familias o ya sea el papá se va y es el único que provee en la casa, o la mamá la deportan y qué va a pasar, el papá se queda con los niños. Todo eso es una incertidumbre entre la mayoría de la comunidad, de las personas. Todo esto,
Yes.
muchas gracias.
My name is Alba, and I'm sorry, my ignorance, but I would like what it means to be a sanctuary city. What does this mean in immigration? These are the questions that I have. I am the voice of the campesinos, so I would like to know what happens with the immigration consequences. We're not informed about the law. What can the new president do or not do? What's going to happen to the families? Are they going to be divided? Is the father going to have to leave, even though he's the one that maybe brings food to the table? Or is the mother going to be deported? So there's a lot of uncertainty.
Thank you. Vamos a dar una respuesta, okay? Can we respond to that?
Yeah, I can, and then Mike can add. Through the chair, we can't stop the federal government from coming in and enforcing immigration law. This sanctuary city status would just state that we would not use our city resources to support any immigration and response. And I don't know, Mike, if you wanted to add anything.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the whole point of the sanctuary city law is that we separate ourselves from the federal government. The federal government will be doing the enforcement of the immigration law. City is not going to be doing that enforcement, and that folks can feel comfortable communicating with and continuing to interface with the city and with the police department and so forth without fear that somehow there's going to be reprisals for those communications, right?
But I don't want to say that we can stop. The federal government is higher than the city, so the federal government would be able to come in and enforce. And I think as a city, what we probably all need to talk about is what kind of safety net can we provide? What kind of help can we provide with nonprofit support if families get separated? Because that could happen.
¿Sí le están traduciendo? Okay. Yeah.
Pues muchas gracias por su respuesta.
Gracias.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Mi nombre es María y somos parte de Líderes Campesinas. Solamente queremos extender el mensaje de que queremos colaborar con la comunidad acerca de el temor que tiene ahorita, de la incertidumbre que tienen en la comunidad. Nuestras familias solamente queremos tener foros comunitarios, educación, con instituciones que tengan bases seguras como abogados. Tenemos que tener foros comunitarios Tenemos que hacer plan de acción con nuestra comunidad, no importa su estatus, no importa la comunidad si está documentada o no está documentada. Nosotros tenemos que tener un plan de acción. En cualquier momento puede pasar algo y tenemos que tener un plan de acción en las escuelas. ¿Qué pasará con nuestros hijos si tenemos un accidente? Si de repente nos morimos como padres, tenemos que tener un plan de acción. Y eso es algo muy importante que queremos extenderles, que queremos colaborar, que estamos aquí. Nosotros, lo que somos en la comunidad, somos ese puente de conexión con recursos. Y nosotros tenemos folletos educativos. Tenemos algunos que quisiera que nos miraran. Nosotros tenemos campañas de pesticidas, violencias contra la mujer, tenemos justicia ambiental y todo está ligado en la comunidad. Entonces, creo que nosotros somos una fuente creíble, tenemos mucha confianza en la comunidad y solamente queríamos decirle, estamos aquí para trabajar con ustedes, para colaborar, como siempre hemos recibido ese apoyo. Mis compañeras están aquí porque nos importa la comunidad, como sabemos que estamos colaborando juntos y es un placer tener a ustedes como representantes de nosotros en la comunidad. Agradecemos su trabajo y solamente queremos decirles gracias y estamos aquí para lo que necesiten. Cuenten con nuestro apoyo.
Gracias.
Yes. Good night. My name is Maria Martinez, and I am a collaborator with Campesinas. And I want to also emphasize the fear that our families are feeling with the uncertainty. We need to have community forums. We have to have more information. We have to have lawyers. We have to have a plan of action. We're here to help. We want to know what's going to happen. For example, if something happens, we have an accident, we can't pick up our children at school if we die in the accident. So it's important to have that action plan. We're here to help. We're here to collaborate. We have flyers about different campaigns that we have against pesticides, domestic violence against the woman, justice for the community. We really trust the community. We want to help. We always appreciate all the support and work that we have received from City Council. And we just want to tell you that we're here, that we want to support you, that we have resources that we can share, and we really appreciate all the work that you've done helping us.
Thank you. Gracias. Mari Flores. Okay. ¿Otros comentarios?
Gracias. Una de las cosas importantes de la comunidad es la seguridad y la situación mental de cada familia. Esta semana yo tuve junta con mi obispo y mis superintendentes donde estamos preocupados por la situación de inmigración. Una de las cosas que va a ser en enero, nosotros vamos a tener un entrenamiento a los pastores de la Iglesia Metodista, donde vamos a considerar que nuestras instalaciones sean santuarios seguros, sea en donde quiera que estemos nosotros. Esa es una cosa que va a hacer la Iglesia Metodista a nivel conferencia. Y la segunda cosa que también hemos hablado, porque soy parte de COPA, en tener igual talleres en cuanto a la inmigración y creo que ustedes pueden ser también parte de ese diálogo que vamos a tener dentro de COPA, donde vamos con líderes de la comunidad y vamos con el departamento de policía y vamos con el sheriff como lo hicimos años pasados. Entonces, queremos continuar con ese diálogo de poder tener ese enlace tanto como COPA, como United Methodist Church o como cualquier agencia que estemos participando. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
One of the other things that is very important is to think about the safety of each family. This week, we had a meeting with the bishop and the superintendent about all the immigration issues that are going to happen. We want to have a training in the Methodist Church in January And we want to make the Methodist Church a sanctuary wherever we are to protect. That's one of the first things that we want to do. The second thing that we want to do is with COPA, we're going to have workshops regarding immigration. We have to have this open dialogue, and we would like you to be part of this dialogue. So we want to have the community involvement, the police and the sheriff. We have done it in the past years.
Thank you. Gracias. Any additional public comments?
Buenas tardes.
Buenas
Yo
tardes.
soy, mi nombre es María López y quisiera preguntar sobre la necesidad de, como yo que soy madre soltera y tengo necesidades de salir fuera a citas médicas con mis hijos que me manden por parte del seguro, por parte del doctor que me mandan lejos y por cualquier cosa que sea una redada o algo. Yo tengo 3 hijas y muchas de mis compañeras y compañeros somos padres solos que sostenemos a nuestros hijos. No tenemos el apoyo de otra persona. ¿Y qué va a pasar si en un caso, no, Dios no lo quiera dar, pero por si así fuera, que los hijos se quedan o habrá una posibilidad que si me llegan a sacar a mí, mis hijos se pueden ir conmigo?
Yes, good night. My name is Maria Lopez, and I'm a single mom, and I would like to know what would happen. Because, for example, sometimes I have to go to medical appointments. My insurance sends me far away. And what happens if suddenly I'm in a raid? I have 3 children, and a lot of my peers also are single parents, and we don't have any support. So what is going to happen if we're deported? Is there a possibility that our children can leave with us also?
Doña María, no tenemos respuesta para usted porque eso son las cosas que legalmente son, por eso los foros comunitarios van a ser importantes porque legalmente trabajar con los abogados de migración que pueden dar más información sobre esas circunstancias, ¿verdad? Que van a ser específicas para cada diferente familia va a ser importante. So I'm just saying that at this point, I know we're not attorneys, but those are the importance of having these immigration forums because those are the specific kind of questions that we want to make sure that our families are able to ask the immigration attorneys that have more expertise in those kind of questions in terms of what happens, right? What happens in those circumstances. So the forums and the know your rights is going to be really critical because there's those questions that our families are going to encounter and going to have. So, yeah, so gracias por la pregunta y por su preocupación. Yeah.
Gracias a ustedes.
Yeah, thank you. Do we have any additional otras preguntas? Okay, let me take it out to the public that's joining us via Zoom. Any comments from those that are joining us via Zoom? Okay, seeing none, council, I'm going to bring it back to the council, and I know it's 9. We have one more item of discussion, and so I want to make sure that this is an important discussion as well. But let's make sure we're really focused in terms of the questions that we have. You know, what are some of the things that we want to move forward with? So I will. Is there a public comment? No. Okay. So let me start with Councilmember Caldera.
Okay, so I agree with that. I mean, I feel for the families who are not documented and you know, they're seeking for some kind of safety or assurance more than anything. But I believe the resolution it's already in place, right? And so what is it that we need to adopt or add to it or what? I mean, if it's already in place, we just have to educate the police department or the public.
I mean, I guess I would say it's sort of it's going to be an evolving response on our part. We do have the resolution in place, but there may be some discussion and recommendations to take additional actions. You know, a lot will depend on what the president and the federal government actually do, and then figure out what the response would be. But I think that a lot of the things that I think are probably gonna need to focus on are communication with the public about what's going on, and you know, there was a reference from one of the speakers about workshops and participation and those sorts of things, sort of coordinating our activities with the county advocacy commission. It's an ad hoc commission, I think, that's been formed. And then on a statewide basis, also keeping ourselves informed as to what the state response has been. That has already started in earnest as to what they can and can't do. And but I think it's going to be more of we already have the framework for making sure that the city stays out of these enforcement actions. And now we need to sort of take the next step is to look at and how can we provide, as the city manager said, a sort of a safety net, you know, an informational safety net in some respects, so that people could come to us for information and say, where do we go if something happens? Who can we refer to? What group of attorneys or community advocates can we turn to? That sort of thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Gonzalo Sanchez.
Yeah, I have a few questions. So this is all something that I think is not new, but like raises a lot of questions that I want a little bit more clarity on. Are there any like areas like legally where people can go if there are agents in a city and like nothing would happen to them? I'm not really sure I know.
I think the answer is no.
The answer is no. Okay, got it. And then but then what this means then is that agents can come, I wrote my questions down. Agents can come to the city, but we do not have to engage with them. So like, for example, if they come in looking for someone for a non-criminal offense, we do not necessarily need to engage. We can say no, correct?
Right. They can't conscript basically our employees and police department and so forth to do the federal job, which is the feds are in charge of the enforcement of immigration laws.
If for example, I'm not saying that it would happen, but for clarity, if a officer does engage and does assist, is that going against city rules, policies?
Yeah, it would be, and also state policies.
Got it. Cool. And then my final question, I know I know Spanish, but I get nervous speaking in Spanish. Sorry, pero sí hablo en casa, pero como que me da vergüenza. But can we partner, like as a city, with Líderes Campesinas to host public forums to educate the community?
Absolutely.
Awesome. And then I don't want to step on toes, Mayor, but I'm wondering, could we have like our own committee to meet with them and engage with the community as well, or?
Yeah, so, yeah, thank you. So there's already dialogue. So I know we've been working already with Megan and having discussions with Jesus, having discussions with the Watsonville Law Center, with UFW, with the school district as well, to be able to work together. So now with COPA, with local, with Pastora Ines as well, with Líderes Campesinas, I think the more that we can work together with the county as well, because I think one of the things that we want to make sure that we're not doing is doing this by ourselves. The county already has a strategic effort. So one of the discussions was looking at what the ad hoc committee is doing and what can we piggyback off of what they're doing. The other thing that happened in 2017 was they had the red cards. One of the questions that's been asked from the county is, at the Mayor's Association meeting, we've already had discussions about, can the county already purchase all of the cards, and can we as a city buy those or get them from them, so that way it's a uniform card that everybody's using that has the know your rights, who to call, so we can disperse that. We're not getting them, yeah, and we have them all together the same, right? Because there's multiple versions of the red card, but if we as a county can have the same card that we're using it uniformly, yeah, and it's one card, one version, because there's multiple. So we've already asked the county and they're working on that. So yeah, to your point, we need to be collaborating.
Could I ask what a red card is? I don't think I'm familiar
So
with
it's that little red card that has, you know, your rights. And And this was in 2017 because it happened in 2017 when Trump was in office. There was similar efforts already as we're discussing now. So it's reactivating some of those efforts again to ensure that we're raising that same awareness that we did in 2017. And the city of Soledad did some of that work back in 2017. I know for the council that we did do that, as Mike said, we did the resolution, but there was workshops that happened working with the Watsonville Law Center and a lot of our groups. There was many community groups, residents that worked to disseminate information. Yeah, so yes, to your point, yes.
Awesome, thank you for that clarity, and I think that's it.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Thank you. So I think that when it comes to the resolution, we already have in place something. So that's the basis for us. But I do think that we need a lot more education. For those of us who at one point have that fear of not getting home, or one of our relatives not getting home because of that. I remember several instances in which children got home and there was nothing there. There was no parents. And I think that in my case, I will put more emphasis in educating our children, educating our families, because I know that there will be a lot of people with fear already. They're already concerned about what's gonna happen, and just the fact that we don't have anything completely sure about what's gonna happen, that creates more uncertainty. And that creates more anxiety in people. And I think that, at least for now, our main focus should be educating and creating some sort of support system for those families. I know that there will be instances in which, hopefully not, but the whole family will go. You know, and that's gonna be a void in the families, in the other families, the relatives. We move to places where we have somebody that we know. So I know that one family having suffering in that situation is gonna impact at least 3 or 4 families. And we have the tendency to feel related to those who we work with, those who we associated with, and it's painful to see their pain as well. So the whole community could be in pain, could be suffering in some way. And I think that, again, our main focus should be their families. There are people already focusing in providing information about the law. I learned this from a video that said, when I went to school, my family already had some people studying finance. So the only thing that we needed was law. So I went to law school because that's what we need. So let's not try to open up our hearts and try to do everything, but let's do what we can. And I think that the closest thing that we can do is work with the families, work with our children. I wouldn't like my son to be in that situation. I wouldn't like my children to wait for me and not being able to communicate. So let's do that. And I know the city is working on something, but please consider me for anything that I can help with. It will be my pleasure for you to work with you guys.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera. Councilwoman Banuelos?
I think also partnering up with, as you mentioned, Mayor, you know, also leaders, campesinas, the churches, school district, everywhere, so that way we can put them all together and we can all help each other, you know, because we are one unit, which is Soledad community. And I know that we're able to help and branch out. So nothing else.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. So I just have a couple of comments because I know we want to make sure that we are working together on this, and again, you know, we did this in 2017. We have the resolution. I would like to update the resolution. I know it's dated back in 2017, and although it's still, I mean, I know it's still, it said that it's still relevant, but because it was in 2017, I'd like to come back and reaffirm that we're reaffirming that this resolution is that we're going back and reaffirming that the resolution in 2017, and we're still reaffirming the same in 2024. That, you know, all of those, all of that language that exists there is still relevant, and that, you know, we're going to partner to be able to make sure that we're doing the awareness that's needed to be able to ensure that our families have those protections and understand their rights. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen, but that we reaffirm that. So I think reaffirming it is really important. So if we can do that, I think that would be important. And then I would also like to then have or institute an ad hoc immigration task force. I know the county has one already, but I think this would be for us. And Councilmember Cabrera, you said you would be willing to be part of that. So if we have another council member that would like to do that, I think it'd be important to be able to work with you know, someone from the city, whether it be Jesus or whoever Megan assigns to. So that way we have a comprehensive strategy that we're working with all the different partners. I did speak to, because I know Councilmember Cabrera did go to the school board meeting. Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez and I went for different reasons, but Councilmember Cabrera went, and he did specifically mention the immigration portion and making sure that we were collaborating. So I did have a conversation with President Ivan Ibarra-Mora that did say that the school's already working on a town hall. And that they'd want to partner with the city so that we're doing the awareness. They have the family, so I don't think we need to recreate. I think we need to partner. And back just to let you know, the framework, Santa Cruz, I was part of meetings with the county of Santa Cruz that had their that had one of their Know Your Rights workshop when Councilwoman Bañuelos had the parade. You guys both attended, Councilwoman Bañuelos and Councilmember Cabrera also attended. The city of Seaside had also Know Your Rights Forum. And so there's already a framework. So one of the other portions of this that happened in 2017 is happening again, is part of the Know Your Rights is also putting together all the documents, asking the families to put together all the documents that you need in case there is deportation, that you have your birth certificates, all your children's information, all your information. So in case everything is there, so in case anything happens, all of that is in one location, right? And there is a mechanism to be able to hand that off to help get your children, you to where it needs to go. So all of that is already, there's already a framework. The attorneys already have all of that. So it's making sure people understand that and know how to do that and how important that is. So that's going to be really important. So I know Ida Lopez Chan is part also of the ad hoc subcommittee meeting that the county is having, that the county has put together. So Megan, I'm glad that they've invited us to be part of that. The city of Greenfield is part of that as well. I know I was at the Greenfield City Council meeting last Tuesday, and the police chief actually came out in public during public comments, and he made a statement about, you know, making sure that his residents understood that police, as we have in our resolution, their police department was not going to be utilizing their law enforcement to enforce federal immigration law, because that's not what our police department does. They do not enforce federal immigration law. So, you know, there's different steps that we can take, but I think if we form an ad hoc immigration task force, they can work on what are those critical steps that we can take and what is it focal stuff that we can do. So we're not getting bogged down on doing stuff that we don't need to do. The other piece of that is, as Megan said, the state's already working on some issues as well. So the Attorney General Rob Bonta did issue a release also about guidance for public institutions to protect immigrant rights under the law. So there is already a lot of guidance, and there is a mandate for public facilities like schools, healthcare facilities, colleges to have these policies in place and requirements that they're mandated to adopt to protect our immigrant populations and families. So they all should have all of these adopted policies. So there is a lot that the state's already doing and enforcing. So I think we also need to be aware of that. So our families know that there's mandates already also at the state level. But it's focusing on what do we do at the local level to make sure our residents know that we're supporting and what we're doing locally. So with that, I'd ask for someone else that would like to work on or be part of the ad hoc immigration task force to work with Councilmember Cabrera and be able to work with the team to be able to put together a strategy that works with our residents and also works with collaborating with the county strategic ad hoc subcommittee.
You can count on me. I'll be part of that.
Okay, so we have Councilmember Cabrera and Councilmember Caldera. Okay.
Say that every time.
Say it real quick.
Okay, perfect. And then we have our local líderes campesinas and also our pastor, and then we can, Jesus, you have a lot of our local contacts as well, so. Perfect. Okay, so any additional discussions on this? No. Okay. Megan, anything else?
If it's okay, I think if we have an ad hoc immigration task force, maybe we can also ask to look at what reaffirming the would
Looks like-
mean
Yeah.
resolution and, thinking through we might know by that time a little bit more what, the full impact of that might be. So we could better educate ourselves as well. But I think that would be a good discussion to have at that committee level.
Okay, perfect.
Through the chair, I was just gonna ask Mike, if you see the resolution and item number 4 says that the city will refrain from participation. Do you think that the refrain is a good word, or? I'm thinking about.
We use the word refrain because there are instances in which we would have to participate.
Okay.
Right, and that's why I didn't want to have something that would say the city is prohibited, because that's not the, if somebody's been engaged in criminal activity and they are an immigrant, then we would participate in that
In that
process.
process,
Right? That's the only reason that we chose that word.
And I think the other thing that we want to also make sure that it's clear to our residents is that, even if we have a resolution, we're not protecting any criminal activity. So I think it's important for our residents to understand that whether you're documented or undocumented, that it's not protecting criminal activity. And it's also important to know that if you are undocumented or and unlicensed and you decide to drive a car and you get stopped, that's still an infraction, that's still a violation of the law, right? And at that point, there is no protection, even if we have a resolution or we're a sanctuary city, that's not being protected under the law. So these are the importance of why we want to educate, because we're not protecting and we're not saying this is a blanket for people to commit crimes or for you to be, to do something that is illegal, because you're not going to be protected with the sanctuary. This is for families that have been here, that, we know we have a lot of mixed status families that are contributing to our community, that have been here for a long time. This even has the potential to impact alien, resident status, right? Like people that have alien permitted residence. My mom is a resident, a permanent resident, so it's families like even mine, right? So we have a lot of families that potentially can be impacted. So those are the families that we're talking about. So, okay, just wanted to make that clear, so. Okay, council, well, thank you so much for the discussion, and this is really important given the demographics that we have in our community. So thank you so much, líderes, for being here. Thank you so much, Pastora, too, for your comments. Okay, so we will move on then. Thank you, Jesus. Muchas gracias. Okay, one more item, council.
Didn't say.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Gracias.
For the.
Oh, it's a women's office.
Okay, this is our
I got it.
our last item, which is B-5. And this is consideration of appointments of Mayor Pro Tem and various appointments to council and city council committees. And I will turn this over to me. Oh, to me, okay. Okay, so.
Delegate it to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna delegate it to myself. So council, you guys have the report that's before you in the and also everybody should have had a copy of the existing committee assignments that we have. So I just want to begin by thanking all of the council members who currently serve on various regional boards and committees this past year. Your representation, obviously, on all of these regional boards and also the committees are really important. So the representation of Soledad is important because we want to make sure that our presence is there. There's a lot of important items of discussion in all of these committees and regional boards. So thank you, first of all, for serving. And plus is part of our responsibilities as elected officials and city council members to be able to sit on these boards as well as, on the dais here. So upon review of all the committee assignments, I did make following recommendations with input and feedback from the council, although some appointments may not be in parity with the discussions I had with each of you. I just want to let you know that I took several things into consideration when looking at the recommendations that I'm making tonight. One was the availability to attend the meetings during the date and time that they're scheduled, because your attendance is critical. We want to make sure that people are attending the meetings, and that if you're not available, that your alternate is attending the meetings. Also, looking at your interest as a council and also your background on the subject matter, because that's really important to make sure that I know sometimes we may not have interest in that specific subject matter, but it's important to be able to at least have an appreciation for going into those meetings and making sure that we understand, because they're critical to our residents and they're critical to the operations of the city. So with that, my recommendations here are my recommendations, and I'm looking for council consensus as part of what is part of the policies, the recommendations that I'm making tonight. So I'm going to start with AMBAG, and I'm just going to do the recommendations. So for AMBAG, I'm recommending Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez to sit on that board with an alternate to be Councilmember Caldera. And then on the CAC, Councilmember Caldera, and there is no alternate for that. On the MST, recommendations for Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Cabrera. And then alternate to be Councilwoman Banuelos. And then for the Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority, for it to be Councilmember Banuelos with the alternate Councilmember Caldera. And then on the TAMSI board, I'm recommending myself, Mayor Velasquez, with the alternate Councilmember Cabrera. And then for the Salinas Valley Broadband Authority, Councilmember Caldera, with the alternate to be myself, Mayor Velasquez. And then on the ad hoc committees, the Affordable Housing Subcommittee, recommendation of Councilwoman Banuelos and Councilmember Cabrera. And then the Policies and Procedures Ad hoc committee, myself, Mayor Velazquez, and Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez. And the City Council Legislative Committee, no change to leave Mayor, Councilmember Cabrera and Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez. And then for the Historical Society, Councilwoman, on that, I'm making a recommendation for Councilwoman Banuelos and the alternate to be Councilmember Caldera on the ad hocs. And then I'm just gonna go back to the, because I didn't address the appointment of the Mayor Pro Tem. So as you know, starting the 2025 term, we do have as part of the rotation, we have a rotation policy for that. So under the rotation policy, the next appointment for the Mayor Pro Tem, we do have Councilmember Cabrera, who does become the Mayor Pro Tem for the year 2025. So that is part of how we decided to change the rotation policy. So each council member had an opportunity to be to hold the position of Mayor Pro Tem. So congratulations, Councilmember Cabrera, you are the Mayor Pro Tem for 2025. So I think those are all of the assignments. Council, those are my recommendations, and we move forward with council consensus.
So yeah, the question is, are there any objections to any of the recommendations? And if not, then the appointments will stand.
I would object to the housing subcommittee. I would like to be on that ad hoc committee.
Okay, so
That's the
We have-
Affordable Housing Subcommittee? Yes. And your recommendation was?
well, Councilwoman Banuelos and Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera. And so only because we have Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez on the Policies and Procedures Committee and also on the Legislative Committee. And I wanted to make sure that I allowed for just for different rotations and for different assignments. So I was trying to make sure everybody had different assignments. And so, council, I know we're gonna go back and look at the policies, but wanting to make sure that every year we come back and have rotation, so everybody has an opportunity to be on the different boards. But I'm open for discussion. If not, we can move forward.
I will withdraw my objection. I recant my objection.
I do want to be participating in the policies and procedures, and I don't want to be an alternate for TAMC.
Okay, so you don't want to participate in the policies and procedures? I mean, you're not on the policies and procedures.
Yes, I want to participate in the policies and procedures.
Okay, so my recommendation was Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez, because he had demonstrated interest in that, and I know, again, just trying to make sure that there was a equivalent kind of amount of direction of appointments. And I know you had a demonstrated interest on the housing subcommittee, so I know you're on the housing subcommittee and also on the legislative committee. So I know we can't all be on all the committees, so we're gonna look at this again next year and we can rotate, but.
We also formulated an immigrant.
Oh, the immigrant ad hoc committee,
which we want to make sure we.
I would like to stay on the policy and procedures meeting because I feel like I'm on the least amount of committees. I'm looking at the regional, I'm only on one and I'm not even an alternate, so I would like to keep AMBAG, policies and procedures, and the legislative committee, as those are only the 3 that I'm on.
I would recommend Ansaldo Sanchez for alternate for TAMC.
Okay, do you approve that recommendation? I mean, I would recommend for you, I can make the recommendation. It's my recommendation, right?
But
So
like, I
just-
get to keep the others, right?
Yeah, you get to keep the others just because Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera doesn't want to be the alternate for TAMC. So if you want to be the alternate, it's open.
Sure, that's the one I wanted, so there you go.
Okay.
I'll be an alternate.
Okay, so Okay, council, so let's, okay, everything else will stay then, and then we'll come back again, so let's make sure that I change that, so then Megan, the alternate then for Tamsi will be Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez.
To the chair, I'm new with this, I just, whatever your assignment I have, then I'll have the assignment.
Okay.
Okay.
Mayor, do you mind going through those one more time?
Yep, and I will give you this, because I have it written down.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure I wrote it down, so it's clear. And it's Caldera. Okay, so for AMBAG, it's Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez. And then the alternate is Councilmember Caldera. And for the CAC, we still have, can you check in with Chief on that to see if it's still standing? But Councilmember Caldera, and there is no alternate on that one. I don't think so. And then on the MST is Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera. And then alternate is Councilwoman Benuelos.
The CAC is working.
Is it still working?
Yeah, we've been meeting every other month.
Oh, okay, good. So can we just make sure that that's correct then?
I'll forward the email to Councilmember Caldera.
Okay.
So that he can communicate to them. And they're gonna be doing the meeting on site. So there's a couple of things that you have to complete, so that you have access.
Okay. And then the Salinas Solid Waste Authority, Councilmember Eva Banuelos. And alternate is Councilmember Caldera. And then Tamsi would be Mayor Velasquez, and alternate would be Ansaldo Sanchez. And then so the Broadband Authority. So can you check when their meeting is?
They're gonna have a meeting this Friday.
Okay, so
If you wanna go, it's gonna be in Greenfield, and I could forward that meeting.
to Councilmember Caldera.
To Councilmember Caldera.
So Councilmember Caldera, and then alternate would be myself. And then Affordable Housing Subcommittee would be Councilwoman Benuelos and Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera. And then Policies and Procedures would be myself and Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez. And City Council Legislative Committee is Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera and Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez. And Historical Society would be Councilwoman Benuelos and alternate Councilmember Caldera. And the Immigration Ad Hoc Committee would be Councilmember Caldera and Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera. We good?
What was the last one? I'm sorry.
The Immigration Ad Hoc
Okay,
Committee?
yeah.
Sounds like you have a consensus.
Okay. Good, okay, let's move on. And then we'll come back next year.
Do we have to take a vote or anything? No, okay.
Okay, so we'll move on then to the next item, council. Report. Let's go on to mayor reports and acknowledgements. And so, on December 6th, I met with the members of the Civic Academy, discussed updates on the MST new routes, outreach and issues related to the immigration concerns. Also on the 6th, I attended the tree lighting event. So I want to thank city staff for their coordination, members of the Liberty Chapel who sang really beautiful Christmas songs, and members of the Girl Scouts Troop 35308 for helping with the Christmas lighting tree, the timer. And then on the 7th, I attended the Christmas parade. So I want to thank all the organizers. Darlene, thank you so much. Councilwoman Benuelos, thank you for making this year a big success. And thank you also for Soledad Auto Sales for lending us the cars to participate in the parade. On the 9th, I attended the MST Board of Directors meeting. The board did approve a four-month extension of the MST on-call service for the city of Greenfield as they had some issues with implementation of their circulator. And then also on the 12th, on the 10th, I supported with the outreach efforts that were conducted with MST here in Soledad to inform our community about the new circulator services. I was out at the bus stop in front of Burger King where we were letting people know that the circulator's coming. They were also over at the dialysis center, and this week they were at the Soledad Healthcare Center, letting people know about the changes. On the 11th, I attended the city employee holiday luncheon, so thank you to all the employees and thank you to the Windmill for a great lunch. Thank you, Megan, and thank you to all the employees. On the 11th, I also attended the Soledad Unified School District Board meeting. I spoke under the public comments to congratulate the board for the passage of Measure E and also request the board to reactivate the quarterly meetings with the city council. And as I said earlier, Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez and Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera were also in attendance. On the 13th, I also presented a certificate of recognition to Maggie Campa and Debbie Ramirez. Maggie retired after serving 20 years on the Soledad Community Healthcare District, and Debbie Ramirez retired after 17 years of service in the healthcare district. So wishing both of them a happy retirement. On the 14th, I attended the Girl Scout Troop 35332, along with American Legion from Soledad, Greenfield, and Gonzales at the first ever here Wreath Across America ceremony at the Soledad Cemetery. Councilwoman Banuelos is also there, as she's a board member also for the cemetery. So I just want to thank the Girl Scout troop for helping us remember our fallen heroes who served in the military, honoring those who served, who are currently serving, and also teaching our next generation about the value of freedom. I also purchased a wreath for $17. I just want to do a shout out. The Wreaths Across America will match the donations. If you purchase a wreath before the end of the year, this will help the Girl Scouts prepare for the celebration for next year. So just making sure that our community knows. And I missed the Cops Giving Tree and the T-Mobile ribbon cutting and the cookies with Santa. Apologize, but I had to join my husband and his company party and other holiday events that we had as part of his job. So that's part of me having to balance, as all of us do, right? Our jobs, our mayor duties or council member duties and our families. So shout out to our police department, CDCR, and thank you to T-Mobile and all of our staff for just making sure that our kids had a wonderful time with Santa and toys and cookies and everything else. So thank you. That's all I have. So with that, I will turn it over to Councilmember Caldera.
My report, on the 6th, I actually attended the tree lighting. The 7th, the parade had a great time, both days. It was very nice to see some familiar faces out there, people we hadn't seen in a long time, so it was great. So.
Okay, good, thank you. Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez?
Yes, I also attended the tree lighting event on December 6th and the parade on December 7th. It was really nice to see our members of the community there. I think a lot of them had a really nice time. Shout out to staff also for putting on the event, for dressing up and engaging with the community. On the 11th, I attended the school board meeting here for the Soledad Unified School District, inviting them to continue to engage with us as they have in the past in order to best serve our community. On the same day, during the same time, I was also I left the board meeting early to attend the Salinas Valley Pride Celebrations board meeting where I was elected as a board member. So I will be serving on the Salinas Valley Pride Celebrations board of directors. And then on the 12th, Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera and I were part of the legislative committee where we just talked about some of our city priorities, what may or may not happen with the incoming administration and so forth. And I think that's it. And I also apologize for missing some of the city events this past weekend. It's, difficult to kind of juggle a lot of different things. And I was out of town helping one of my friends move, not far, but I can drive, she can't, so yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera.
I don't have nothing to report. I attended several things, but I don't have it in my written down. I was so emotional because I'm the new.
Yeah, and thank you for attending the holiday event for the staff. Yeah, you were there. Yeah, so it's great food. Councilwoman Banuelos.
So yes, I also attended the December sixth tree lighting. I want to say thank you so much for everyone attending, and also just, the behind the scenes preparation for that, thank you, shout out to Darlene. And of course, Public Works, December 7th, of course, I'm part of the Solidarity Christmas Parade Committee, so we had our yearly 38th annual parade, and that was a great event. And December 9th, along with Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera, we attended in Seaside, the Know Your Rights for education and, just to help build what is needed for those who will be affected, with the deportation. December 11th, I did attend the city holiday luncheon and say thank you again for the invite, you guys, and it was really good food. Thank you for the windmill and thank you for the free raffle ticket. Also December 13th, I attended the Cops Giving Tree as I was the MC as well. It was such a great turnout, partnering up with the Soledad Police Department, the school district, the resource center, and then also CDCR. It's a great event, to give back to the community and to families that are selected. December 14th, I also attended along with Mayor Velasquez, the first wreath across America at the Soledad Cemetery, as I'm also part of the board of the Soledad Cemetery. And it was just a great experience because it's everywhere, wreaths across America. So this is our first time and we want to continue doing it every year and also support our Girl Scouts as well. Also I attended the Cookies with Santa. Thank you so much. Shout out to Jessica and her crew and then T-Mobile as well. I did miss the ribbon cutting from T-Mobile, but it was a good turn. It was a really great turnout. I took my grandson and, continuing programs like this, it just brings back, a lot of our community back. And I appreciate that. December 16th, I'm part of the Soledad Cemetery Board. So we had our meeting yesterday. I'm sorry, the 16th. I also met with Megan yesterday, over the phone with a briefing of our agenda today. And then this Saturday, the 21st, I will be attending the free community lunch at 12 o'clock. That is being hosted by Liberty Chapel Church. So everyone is free to attend.
Thank you.
Through the chair, I'm sorry, I forgot that we do acknowledgements at the same time now, and I have acknowledgements as well. Is that okay? Okay. I just wanted to give an acknowledgement to my sister Talia, who just completed her first semester at Sacramento State, and also to all of the students that completed their first semester, first quarter of university. And I also wanted to give a quick shout out to my aunt, Mrs. Sonia Sanchez Lee, whose birthday was yesterday, and I just wanted to say happy birthday to her. She's a fourth grade teacher at Gavilan Elementary. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I'll do a shout out to my son who also Gabriel, who just completed his first semester at San Jose State. Yay. Very nice. Okay. Thank you, council. Okay. So moving on, city manager's report. City manager, thank you so much. Your report, Megan, your report is in our packet. Well, you sent us your report. There's a lot of information there, team. Thank you, Megan, for all the great information, all the work that you guys are doing. I know there's a lot of moving pieces, and I just want to say thank you for everything that you have on your plate and then some. And so I don't know if there's any highlights that you want to share from your report.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I just wanted to, on behalf of the city staff, wish council wonderful holidays and thank you for supporting the work that we do. You guys have been, really supporting a lot of initiatives that are important, not only to the community, but to the staff. One thing I did want to alert you on is we are moving community development staff to City Hall. So there will be some growing pains, but as part of that, we are growing and the municipal construction is really expensive. So we are gonna be looking at what we can do to add spaces within what we have physically through furniture, kind of like what we're looking at the boardroom with the dais. We're gonna carry that through into the rest of City Hall. And starting with my office is, I love that I have this palatial office, but it's way too big for one person. So we're looking at maybe moving the conference room also with my office and then freeing up the conference room to have cubicles there. So we're looking at some changes in the floor plan to enable better use of this space. Because again, I'd love to push out and build up, but that's millions of dollars where we might be able to do something at least for the near term future to fit in. So that's kind of a big project underway. The other thing is Jesus Yanes and I are working with our team that's going to do our strategic plan, which is at the University of Kansas. We're very excited about them. And we will be reaching out in the new year to identify a time that you could be available. What we anticipate is we'll have one pretty much all day session with council. So probably like 6 hours, and it'll probably have to be on a Saturday because most of you work, but we can entertain a different day. One session with executive team, and then the third session will bring both together. So we are gonna ask for a little bit of your time, but I think it'll be worth it. So just look for that in the new year. And just a reminder, I will be out starting tomorrow. So will Darlene. Darlene is not reachable by phone, but you can call me anytime by phone. And I will answer as long as I have cell service. And the chief will be in charge while I'm away. We will have, the offices will be closed from December 24th through January 1st. So City Hall is not going to be open, but we will be open on the 23rd and then on the 2nd of January. So.
Megan, when are we having our strategic planning? Do you have a date for that?
We will probably be able to send you the revised date in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can put it on our calendar.
Yeah, I think we'll probably, when Darlene gets back, she'll probably start identifying the dates that you guys are available. Oh, lastly, tentatively, we're planning, you asked for a study session regarding Miramonte.
Yeah.
So tentatively, if you guys are available, we would do that on January 29th.
Oh, okay, change. I thought it was 18th. No. Okay.
Yeah, just
Sorry.
because we have a meeting on January 15th. We thought it would be better to keep it consistent on Wednesday, so,
And I can make that.
and Mike's available too, so.
Okay, can you send us a meeting invite?
I didn't know
please?
when the next meeting.
The next meeting is
I thought it
January
was the 8th for
15th.
some reason.
Yeah, January 15th.
Okay, thank you. We can get a meeting invite.
Yeah, we will send you for both.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, council, do any more?
No, that's it.
Okay, any questions, council? No,
Questions? No.
no comments? Okay, thank you, Megan, and thank you. Wishing you and your family Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, Happy New Year's, everything else. Okay, council, future agenda items. So let me just open it up. I'm not gonna go through each one of you guys, but anybody have future agenda items?
Yes, I would like an update on where we are with proceeding for a rental registry.
Yeah, I think I would ask if we could kick that to the strategic planning session, just because I think we'll look at the housing element and all of the activities and kind of order priorities, if that's okay with the council.
Okay, I just need to know when, I just want to make sure we have a planning, the strategic planning session soon.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it will be, the goal is to be complete by March, early April in time for the budget. So that your priorities can be implemented into the upcoming fiscal budget. So we have a consultant now. We're just, the only reason, they actually were so anxious, they wanted to meet in December. But we didn't think you guys wanted to meet in December because we have all these holiday, events and things, so we pushed them off till January.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, we just want to move forward with it. Okay. So we'll move forward with that discussion. Anything else, any other comments?
Yes. I was wondering if we could do a recognition for Mario Martinez, which is, he was the silver medalist for the Olympics back in 1984. And I didn't know that we had such a personality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And maybe get in contact with the family and do a recognition.
is he still here?
No, he died 7 years ago.
He passed away.
But he has family, I don't know, I think he has a daughter that still lives here and in the area. But yeah, he died 7 years ago.
If you provided us with some contact
Yes.
information.
Definitely.
Yeah, we could do that. That's, yeah, that's a good idea, especially for our next generation. Okay.
John Ordonez was a friend of him.
Oh, yeah, no, John. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that'd be good. Okay,
He's the one who told me.
yeah, that would be good. Okay, Megan, I just have, if we can get a date for the state of the city for February, so we could do that. I know last year we did it in February, and if we can have a date, so at least the council has a date for the state of the city. We usually do it at the end of January, but we have a lot going on, so we can schedule it for maybe the first week of, in February.
Okay.
I'll be gone in February, I think the first week, but if we can schedule it in February.
Sure.
If not, I can do it for you.
Yeah. I'll be on vacation, but yeah, but if we could do it February, that'd be good, so we can have the state of the city.
Yeah. I'll be in the mountains. Just kidding.
All right.
Okay. I think that's it. Okay, so with that, council, if there's no further items of business, we adjourn this meeting at 10 o'clock. Thank you, everybody.